We allege that Apple has consolidated its monopoly power, not by making its own products better, but by making other products worse.
Apple says the lawsuit threatens the principles that set Apple products apart in fiercely competitive markets, and if it's successful, it will hinder its ability to create the kind of technology people expect from Apple.
Fox's Jenny Cosola, the company, promises a vigorous defense. Few things are ever unanimous at the United Nations, but a U.S.-sponsored resolution on artificial intelligence was just adopted by consensus, meaning with no opposition. The goal is safety, and the vote shows global support for developing AI guardrails.
It is vague. The resolution touches on the notion that AI is rapidly changing and a developing field, that all countries, rich and poor, should participate in the conversation about best practices and should benefit, especially as AI is applied toward achieving 2030 development goals like ending global hunger and poverty, improving health, getting quality secondary education for all children, and achieving gender equality.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Multiple countries, including the U.S., are already working on AI regulations. The European Union gave final approval last week to the world's first comprehensive rules. Third sentencing day underway in Mississippi, where 6 now former law enforcement officers admitted torturing 2 black men. A 5th former sheriff's deputy just sentenced to more than 27 years in federal prison. Penalties so far ranging from over 17 years to 40. America is listening to Fox News.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Partly sunny skies, touch below average, 52 for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy, 35. Friday, chilly start, much warmer. Friday afternoon, just a tiny chance of a spot-limited shower. Think dry. 69, though, for Friday. Lots of clouds Friday night, 32. The weekend, bouncy we go. Saturday, sunny and chilly, 52. Sunday, partly sunny, 62. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/free. Ramp.com/free. RAMP.com/free.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Outdoor Living Redefined, brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design, your trusted partner in crafting stunning decks, inviting screened rooms, and elegant porch overhangs. Imagine enjoying a crisp morning coffee on your beautifully designed deck, or hosting gatherings in a spacious screened room. Lakeside turns your vision into reality. Our skilled craftsmen use top-notch materials to create spaces that stand up to the elements and stand out in style. Elevate your lifestyle with Lakeside's outdoor living expertise. Visit our showroom or call Lakeside Renovation and Design today.
The IRS definitely ramped up operations since the pandemic slowed them down, and activity only increases from here. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. If you're currently under audit or you haven't paid your taxes in the past, now's the time to call the Lance Story Law Firm. The IRS has a published taxpayer bill of rights which says you have the right to retain legal representation because IRS problems are legal problems, and the Land Story Law Firm focuses specifically on addressing IRS issues for our clients. It's all we do. We get out in front of the IRS, devise the best resolution plan, and work to make sure you're able to take advantage of every program you're qualified to receive. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure company, call the Land Story Law Firm. We're local, located right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURYlaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Land Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Why are people saying Hugh yeah to Jackson Hewitt? When you switch to Jackson Hewitt, they will beat what you paid last year on tax prep, even if you filed online. Proof of prior year payment required when filing. New clients only at participating locations through April 7th. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
The Lifestyles Unlimited team of real estate investing mentors and educators want to meet you. Learn to retire in 5 years or less. In St. Louis, 2 days only, April 27th and 28th. Go to GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Promo code 2024.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
RICO is not a crime. It is a category. What is the
It's a category of crime.
I mean, it's like when things happen in the world and they're news related and you got to cover it, but then it perfectly marries with the internet. You're like, okay, I'm okay with the internet today. We appreciate you being on with us this afternoon. We played that clip yesterday and watched as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez made a fool of herself, which is unlike the other times where she's speaking. And she was pressuring Tony Bobulinski on whether or not Joe Biden committed a crime. I think that this, as goofy, that meme that we just played there, somebody imposed a helmet on her head. And I'm going to tell you what, with the neck movements that are going on with that clip, some chin strap she must be wearing, because that helmet did not fall off. I think it was also superimposed, but I digress. We're missing, in my opinion, maybe the most obvious, egregious display of the leftist playbook that's happening right in front of our eyes. And I'm going to get to the details of the Tony Bobulinski hearing. I'm going to get to what, other than AOC making a fool out of herself, which I know some of you are here for. That's like, it makes you smile today. I don't relish the opportunity to play an Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez clip. Brad can confirm that. Yeah. I'm like, don't even waste your time clipping the AOC thing that everybody's talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, she is not a fan. She doesn't. I guess the idea is that it's just too easy of a dunk. And
everybody else is doing it.
Yeah.
Everybody out there. AOC comes out and says something. It goes viral. This is how she got elected, because she's very good at cutting through the noise and being seen and heard, which is amazing. That's the other side of the internet. There's good points, there's bad points. But pay attention to what's going on, not just with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, but with Jamie Raskin, with other individuals on the Democrat side of this hearing yesterday with Tony Bobulinski. Tony Bobulinski, I keep hearing people go on and on about his resume of sorts. First of all, he's like he's two different kinds of engineer. Way smarter than me. At one point he lists them. He's like, so I think I can do math. He was so PO'd yesterday When he came in, it was like he was ready to rumble, and he's like, I'll take 2 of you with these 2 if I have to. And he was ready to go. He was ready to answer. He was saying, like, names, dates, figures, times. I was there. Well, how do you know? Because I saw it. Because I was there. I was part of the conversation. Over and over and over again. He is unequivocal in his assertion that Joe Biden is a corrupt individual.
From my direct personal experience and what I've subsequently come to learn, it is clear to me that Joe Biden was the brand being sold by the Biden family. His family's foreign influence peddling operation from China to Ukraine and elsewhere sold out to foreign actors who are seeking to gain influence and access to Joe Biden and the United States government. Joe Biden was more than a participant in and a beneficiary of his family's business. He was an active, aware enabler who met with business associates such as myself to further the business, despite being buffered by a complex scheme to maintain plausible deniability.
He's putting himself essentially at the scenes of the crime to tell you what he saw. And it seems as though he's been trying to tell his side of the story for quite some time. He's got a lot of pushback. They've tried to discredit him. They really haven't been able to. But this is the thing that you need to understand about the obnoxious Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez showing. Sometimes you just need to have them show their whole rear in order to understand exactly what's going on. And yesterday, AOC was one of multiple who did this. It is enough for them to just keep repeating. You have absolutely no evidence. There is no evidence of any crimes committed by Joe Biden. And they call it a sham. So much so that in that, like, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, like, this muscle that they have is atrophied so much that they forget they might have to put in just a wee bit of work to get to the conclusion of there's nothing to see here. Leslie Nielsen. The idea that you're going to come out and say that Joe Biden is the squeakiest of clean. That you are going to be able to go in front of cameras and microphones and say, all the Republicans are trying to do here is get Joe Biden. In the same news story, you can see how the Democrats, their only goal is to get Trump. The hypocrisy is what is getting under the skin of the American voter. The hypocrisy of the left and their very long affair with the media that will just drive the agenda home for them. Whatever you need, we're here to show up. We're here to we're not going to ask any questions. We're so far past asking questions that we will be certain to come up in front of the camera every day and tell the people what they need to know. And when they start to ask questions, because they're not as stupid as we need them to be, when you start to ask questions, they just say, here's the line, repeat, 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 repeat. The hypocrisy that exists behind many of these Democrats who are pushing up against Tony Bobulinski yesterday, all they keep repeating, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And I mean, if she were my child, I would ground her for her attitude alone. Like, I tell my kids, you can have emotions. Your emotions are always valid, but it's what you do with them. Like, the way she disrespects the witness, Tony Bobulinski, in her line of questioning before he has... She goes into asking, like, has he committed a crime? And then, she talks super slow. She spells out every syllable of category, as if Tony Bobulinski, who is a decorated veteran, very intelligent engineer who was working in the business levels of the highest, most powerful people in the world. I'm pretty sure that the left and the right can agree that the Biden family exists in that circle. Come on, AOC, say category slower so he knows you really mean business. And as soon as he starts answering the question, it's enough for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to double up on the attitude and the interruption, so much so that when he's explicitly answering the question, what kind of crimes did Joe Biden commit, He's listing the crimes. She claps back with saying RICO is not a crime. Hans von Spakovsky is going to be here in 10 minutes, and I'm just going to ask him, like, hey, this just in, big news from AOC. Good thing she's not your lawyer or mine. Watching Bobulinski, and he had an edge to him. He was very well prepared. He had the answers to the questions. And the Democrats didn't like it, but they're in lockstep. And they don't have anything because all they consistently put out to you as a consumer of this information, as the person who all of those people in a line of questioners of Tony Bobulinski, they're all there to represent their constituents. They all serve you. Don't ever forget that. He was well prepared. The people on the left, their only consistency is there is zero evidence of any wrongdoing on Joe Biden's part. And it wouldn't have mattered if Tony Bobulinski would have sat there and given that testimony that he gave yesterday, or if he wouldn't have shown up. They were going to say the same thing no matter what. And they just say it enough, they just repeat it enough that the people who, I don't know if anybody really likes Joe Biden, but you like Joe Biden because you hate Donald Trump. If those people needed to hear today, Joe Biden's still clean, then they got to hear it multiple times from multiple people. And if multiple people are saying it, it's got to be true. And the right, man, they just want to get Joe Biden. This is just politics for them. They just want to use their positions in elected office to try to get the president of the United States. When you know full well that the people in the bureaucratic departments of Washington, D.C. and a lot of our federal authorities are working overtime to get Trump. You can see it with your own eyes. You know what's going on. Here's more from Tony.
Included a proposal of, quote, 10% held by H for the big guy, question mark. You remember that, right?
The infamous email with the big guy? Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
Did anyone ever respond to that email?
Yes, they did, numerous times.
Sorry.
Hunter Biden himself did.
Excuse me. You're right.
Well, no, I think that's important because Hunter Biden has claimed that he didn't respond to it, and he responded to it.
You're just going to filibuster. I reclaim my time that's running out, but I will say no one responded to the big guy reference for 10.
Thank you for making my point. They didn't have to respond because they all knew the big guy was Joe Biden.
I reclaim my time. Mr. Chairman, please control the witness.
I can't wait to see this movie. I just hope it has a good ending. I haven't seen the ending yet. They ask a question. He answers the question. They have a narrative. The Republicans do this too when they're in hearings. The Democrats, this is how these things go. It's why in many cases it's a political, a lot of opportunity for, just turning out political campaign commercials for the next election. Democrats and Republicans alike doing this. But the Democrats, in my estimation yesterday, got roasted. And then while they're getting roasted, you have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who makes a fool out of herself. And I just have to think to myself, it is very clear to me that she has gotten away with saying sound bites. That's her job. Her job is to churn out sound bites. The consequences of those sound bites don't matter because as long as you just clip the sound bite, she looks good. And the people are fed another little morsel that leads them along the trail to the Wicked Witch's house or whatever. What is she in Hansel and Gretel? Isn't that the breadcrumbs to the witch who eats them? There's probably a strong correlation there, but I hesitate to say how much.
Yeah, I think it's Hansel and Gretel.
Like a witch in the woods. Yeah. Attracting children into their home.
Deceiving them, promising them candy, then pushing them in an oven.
Werther's Originals. This is how AOC functions. And she's at the top of the soundbite delivery. She tried to do it yesterday, and Bobulinski is out of her league. And she got eaten up by it. And then we come to this fine piece of the hearing yesterday.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I find it incredibly rich. Mr. Swalwell is going to come to this committee and lecture us about how China penetrates our government. I think that's something he may know a thing or two about. But let's talk about how China has penetrated the highest levels of this government, including this president and this White House, because I think the visual is incredibly important.
I have questions. I don't know if he was talking about Joe Biden and Bobulinski there. It seems like maybe he was getting towards something else. I don't know. I don't understand it. But I do understand that we don't want to have irresponsible relationships with Chinese officials who may not have our best interests at heart. Or at least that's my understanding of it. I have no idea how Eric Swalwell feels about it. That's all I have to say about that. Anywho. We're going to speak with Hans von Spakovsky, Senior Legal Fellow at the Heritage Foundation, when we come back. And I'm going to get his take on yesterday's hearing. If any of this, because that's the real question, right? Does any of this even matter? Okay, I'm paying a whole bunch of attention. You're paying a whole bunch of attention. At the end, if you are on the side of, seems like Joe Biden was a pretty shady guy and he was using his crack addict son to do his bidding all across the country and all across the world so that they could enrich the family. That seems pretty obvious, just based on the facts that you can write down on a piece of paper. And the left is like, no evidence of wrongdoing whatsoever. And then there are a group of people who are like, okay, and they're just good with it. I'm not in the latter category. We'll see where Hans is next, when we talk to him and get his take on the Tony Bobulinski hearing that took place yesterday. Stick around. More Annie Fry Show in just a minute.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
There goes my baby with someone new. She sure looks happy. I sure am blue. She was my baby.
I want to encourage you to keep your HVAC system maintained. For nothing more than it helps you avoid those costly repairs that occur when you don't maintain it correctly. Your air conditioner and your furnace need to have a routine maintenance, and Air Comfort Service is there to help you with that. The maintenance plans start at just $15 a month. If you pay monthly, you're going to get your 12th month free. That's nice. That's the month I had to replace my furnace a few years ago with Air Comfort Service. They're going to take care of you. They're going to look at the things that you don't even have to think about it when you sign up for a maintenance plan with Air Comfort Service. These are wonderful people. They will have a trained technician service your heating and cooling system. And if you're interested in signing up, you just give them a call at 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091. When you reach out to them, if you want to sign up for the maintenance plan, just tell them that you'd like to have that done. Maybe you need a tune-up. Maybe you think you might need to replace the unit in your home. When they come to your house, they're going to be able to give you your options, how to fix, how to repair. Maybe just something needs to be cleaned and it should be running in good order. Or like me, over the course of the last few years, maybe you end up having to replace that heating furnace system and the air conditioner. Whatever the case is, you want to go with the very best, and that's Air Comfort Service, 314-513-0091, online at aircomfortservice.com.
I'm embarrassed to say this. I've been using deodorant on my armpits for 30 years, and anytime I noticed odor anywhere else, I thought I needed another shower, I wasn't clean, or I felt like there was something wrong with me. And then my gynecologist told me about Lumi. It's a whole body deodorant for pits, feet, and privates that controls odor anywhere and everywhere on your body. Since Lumi, I never have to worry about body odor ever again, anywhere on my body. And that reassurance is worth every penny.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 300 and get an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack that comes with a solid stick, cream tube, free product of your choice, and ships free with code 300. LUME deodorant.com, code 300 for an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack. With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I am so sure you're going to love it. Or return it for free. That's LUME deodorant.com, code 300 for an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack. LUME deodorant.com, code 300.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated. Keep the air you're paying to heat where it should be with 15% off attic insulation. For a free estimate on attic insulation, visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Reardon Fish Fry Fridays conclude this week in Oakville. Join me and the crew at Queen of All Saints Church. We're broadcasting live from 3 to 6 p.m. Details at 971talk.com/events. It's Fish Fry Fridays on The Mark Reardon Show. Hope to see you in Oakville.
This is The Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
There is a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun, and it's been
Mr. Chairman, for the record, I want to submit into the record 2 different WhatsApp text messages. One, July 31, between Hunter Biden and Mr. Zhao of CEFC, which stipulates that Hunter Biden wants to be able to move on from and get the contract resolved, get the deal resolved, and that Mr. Zhao responds and says, yes, the CEFC is willing to cooperate with the family. On August 31, there's another exchange, this time August 3rd, 2017, between Hunter Biden and Mr. Ganwei Dong. And in this message, they're talking about the stipulations of the arrangement between the Biden family and CEFC. I want to submit both WhatsApp text messages for the record, Mr. Chairman.
We the people of the United States.
More perfect.
In order to form a more perfect union.
Heritage legal expert Hans von Spakovsky.
Well, that was Byron Donald submitting some text messages from a WhatsApp communication regarding Hunter and his communications with this Chinese business. Hans von Spakovsky with us now. Were you able to watch and take in some of the highlights or the whole thing with Tony Bobulinski in front of the Oversight Committee yesterday?
Yeah, it was quite something, wasn't it? Particularly when he got into it with Congresswoman AOC, as everyone likes to refer to her, having to correct her and instruct her on federal criminal law, the RICO Act. Look, the most important thing for people to understand is, yesterday's testimony was Mr. Bobulinski, but what he said is exactly the same as what other ex-partners of Hunter Biden have said. Devin Archer, Jason Galanis. Those folks have also given testimony, and every single one of them has consistently said what they were doing was selling the brand, and the brand was Joe Biden. And Joe Biden was involved in and did meet with the business prospects that they were trying to convince to give them business. And you don't get that kind of consistency on the other side. In fact, on the other side, as you know, you keep getting Hunter Biden, James Biden, Joe Biden caught in lies.
Yeah, it's the consistency of in this trial. I was just kind of talking about this before. The Democrats that were questioning Tony Bobulinski, all they wanted to be able to say, and it didn't matter what was happening in front of them, was that there was no evidence of any wrongdoing whatsoever on Joe Biden's part. Did you feel as though Tony Bobulinski's sworn testimony yesterday is factual evidence of Joe Biden committing crimes?
Well, yeah, in particular, since he's also got text messages involved. And, Bobulinski kept trying to explain that to the Congresswoman, and she just didn't want to listen. Yeah. She did not want to hear about it. In particular, at one point, Bobulinski mentioned FARA. That's the Foreign Agent Registration Act, which requires you to register with the Department of Justice if you are representing the interests of a foreign company, a foreign entity, foreign government. And none of the Bidens did that, including, by the way, Joe Biden after he left the vice presidency.
It's very frustrating to watch hypocrisy be on full display on a regular basis with this justice system that is going after Donald Trump at every possible, to the extreme, every possible turn. But then just the full-on agreement from the left that Joe Biden isn't capable of doing anything wrong. This is an impeachment inquiry, or they're looking to potentially impeach the president, and then they would go to the Senate, and that would carry on there once they pick that up. But is what Joe Biden did incredibly unethical? Is this a political crime, or is this a crime like what they're trying to do, get Donald Trump on, where there could be actual, real criminal consequences for his actions?
Well, what they've made clear in their testimony is this was an influence peddling operation, and it was unethical and unprofessional, basically, for Biden's family, with the participation of Joe Biden, to use his position as vice president to make money. the potential criminal violations come in under the fact that, like what we were just talking about, which is if you're doing something like that, if you're representing foreign entities, you've got to register. And if you don't, that's a criminal violation of the law. And yet it tells you something about this Justice Department that despite all of the blatant evidence that, for example, Hunter Biden was representing these foreign companies, including being on the board of the Ukrainian energy company, they still have not charged him with violating that law. It's like, what in the world are they waiting for? They got all the evidence they need to indict him for that.
Hans, if Donald Trump or Eric Trump would have done what Joe Biden and Hunter Biden did, would they have been charged?
Oh, yes. No, there's no question about that whatsoever. They would have been charged and indicted long ago. And here we have overwhelming evidence, potentially, of violations of the law, and nothing is happening, which again tells you what's wrong with the Justice Department being run by Merrick Garland and how political that department has become.
Hans von Spakovsky with us. He's a senior legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Originally the idea that Hunter Biden was going to go, he was subpoenaed. He defied the subpoena. He went to the other side of the building to do a press conference to tell people he was defying the subpoena. Then he ends up sitting down and having that conversation with the committee. But he didn't show up today, and yesterday. He threw a big hissy fit about it. I'll say everything I need to say in public. Why they're afraid of me? Where was he yesterday?
Well, apparently he was afraid to testify in public. But look, his going back and forth on this shows you how what is happening is that Hunter Biden, his lawyers, and I have no doubt with the help and advice of the White House, are doing everything they can to manipulate publicly what's going on with this and try to make the Republicans look bad for looking at it. Look, to show you just how serious this is and the evidence there, look, at one point, Bobolinsky yesterday was reading from an email drafted for Hunter Biden that was all about having a board seat for a certain relation, which clearly was Joe Biden, on a firm, an investment firm connected with the Chinese Communist government. And the other significant thing he said was that in a conversation with James Biden, the first son, Bobolinsky said all the Bidens talked about was having plausible deniability. In other words, they all knew what they were selling was Joe Biden, but they wanted everything to be deniable so that nobody could ever connect Joe Biden with what was happening. Look, that's the way mob operations work. That's exactly what they were doing. It was the same thing.
Hans von Spakovsky with us right now. When people say Joe Biden is the brand, Joe Biden is what they were selling, what would do we have examples of, evidence of what Joe Biden, how did he come through when the deal was done? What was Joe Biden's brand other than influence? Who was he influencing? What was he influencing?
Well, clearly the influence was to help these foreign companies when they got into the United States. And remember, one of the big companies that the Biden family established a relationship with was a big Chinese-owned energy company. And what they wanted was to be able to be in the United States, exploiting our energy reserves, buying up, gobbling up, same thing, buying up, gobbling up American energy companies, all of which would be terrible for the national security of the United States.
When Joe Biden is the vice president, which is when a lot of these deals were taking place, and Hunter Biden was flying on Air Force Two. Right. I would assume that the mere presence of the vice president of the United States carries a load of weight with it. But then does Joe Biden, I mean, he doesn't have to like shake anybody down. He just advocates for the needs of the people that are doing business with him over the needs of the American people. Is that how that works?
Yeah, it is. And look, when your son is going on these foreign trips with the vice president, and what is he doing? Trying to negotiate profitable deals with these foreign companies, foreign individuals, members of the Chinese Communist Party. All of them are going, wow, this is the son of the vice president. Any kind of regulatory or legal hurdles that we might have, why obviously his father can smooth it over and make sure that we can operate easily, successfully in the U.S. and make money doing it. Why else would they do business with Hunter Biden? He had no other skills, certainly not as an investment advisor. And yes, that's what they were hiring him to do.
I want to shift gears before we let you go. Hans von Spakovsky with us right now. Fani Willis, that ruling came after we spoke with you last week. And my guess is that the way the judge returned his decision on Fani Willis and her ability to stay on the case with Nathan Wade having to depart was not exactly what you thought should have happened. I wanted you to tell us, where is this case right now, and what do you think of what the judge has done?
Well, the defendants in the case asked the judge to give them permission to immediately appeal his opinion to the Georgia Court of Appeals. They had to get the court's permission to do that because, this wasn't a final judgment. This was just an interim order in the prosecution. And the judge almost immediately gave them permission to do it. So all the defendants are appealing up to the next court, and what they're going to tell the court is look, just based on the findings of this judge, the conflict of interest, the appearance of impropriety, the unprofessional behavior, the odor of mendacity, that's the terminology he used, this judge did not go far enough. He should also have recused Fani Willis from the case and her entire office, and you, Court of Appeals, should order that this entire criminal prosecution be transferred to a different county DA's office. That's what they're going to ask for, and I would hope that the Court of Appeals would recognize the serious problems with allowing Fani Willis to continue to handle this case.
Well, I don't know nothing about nothing, Hans, but it almost makes me feel like this judge made a politically expedient ruling and decision and just kicked the door and left it cracked open on his way out after he was done. Because it seems as though what you're saying, Fani Willis could still be removed if the appeals court would require that. That all could still happen. It just wouldn't necessarily be done by this judge.
Oh, no, I think you've analyzed it perfectly. I think that's exactly what's going on. He kicked the case up to the Court of Appeals to let them take the potential political heat from the left, for example, if they actually kick her off the case. He only went halfway as far as he needed. He didn't go all the way, and he's letting the folks above him take responsibility for that.
But his what he said in his ruling was devastating for Fani Willis and Wade, and it still seems like, just so I'm really clear, Fani Willis could still be removed off this case, and it could still be relocated in Georgia. That's correct.
That is exactly right, because that's what the defendants are asking the Court of Appeals to do.
Huh. What's the timeline on that? Do we know?
Well, I think the court is going to be very aware of the national attention being paid to this case and the fact that she keeps pushing, Fani Willis, keeps pushing to have the trial start as soon as possible. Yeah. So I think they'll act pretty quickly on this.
Oh, man, it's always the appeal, the foul ball of the legal system. It gets me every time. Hans, thank you for breaking it down for us. We love having you. We'll talk to you again next week.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Yep, of course. Take care. Senior Legal Fellow at the Heritage Foundation. I can't stress enough how much I never see the appeal coming, and there's always an appeal coming.
It's always an appeal.
Yeah.
There's only not an appeal after a Supreme Court ruling.
And yeah. I I am learning on the job when it comes to the legal system. I'm proud to say I've never had to be in court for anything. I don't really necessarily want to be in court for anything. I know lawyers. I'm related to lawyers. I don't want to know about their business. But boy, every single twist and turn, and it doesn't help that there are about a dozen monumental, historically significant cases that are unfolding right now. Some of which we care about, some of which we just don't. And it really, you just got to know what the political parties are at play to determine whether or not we seem to care about it. All right. The YouTube live chat poll for today. Is there any position or policy in the opposing party that you support? You have to think about this one a little bit. Brad and I are going to talk about this in the next segment. Ryan Wiggins is on vacation. He'll be back next week, late next week, he says. We'll see about that. But he's taken some time off, and we're hoping he's having a wonderful time. So we're going to fill in for Wiggins America for the next few days. So we will talk about the YouTube live chat poll on after this break. Go vote. Leave your comments. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
I'm going to encourage you to not gamble with your mortgage when you are looking at purchasing a home. A lot of times it's such a big decision. It's such a big there's so many things that you've got to do that sometimes you get partnered with someone and they say, okay, here's who you're going to go to for insurance. Here's who you're going to go to for your mortgage. And here's the bank, blah, 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 blah. I want you to make sure that you can check in with those people. But before you sign anything, go to Stewie. Because Stewie has the bagel loan. Stewart's American Mortgage is the only place you can get a bagel loan. And a bagel loan, as long as you've got a loan of $200,000 or more, you're going to pay nothing in closing costs. How do you pass up the opportunity to skip the closing costs and the fees that mount up to thousands of dollars when you go to make that home purchase? Stewie is your guide. I will also add to you folks who have a mortgage already, think about a bagel loan for a refinance. I don't know where your mortgage rate is right now compared to where it was when or what they are at this point in time. But if you can lower your mortgage rate and do it without it costing you anything, this is a very smart decision. Can save you a ton of money in interest over the course of the length of your loan. 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440. I'm a two-time bagel loan customer myself, and I encourage you to check out how Stewie can help you. Google the bagel loan for more info, NMLS number 226715.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Tony La Russa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Call my personal realtor, Becky O'Neill. Kim St. Ange here. Becky has over 20 years of experience, and she's helped my family buy and sell multiple homes over the years. She gave us this advice that got our offer accepted on our current home during a bidding war, even though it was $10,000 less than other offers. So if you're looking to sell, she can suggest simple changes that will bring a big return. Call Becky O'Neill today, 636-326-2290, or go to BeckyO'Neill.com.
Today's YouTube live chat poll. Is there any position or policy in the opposing party that you support? Yes or no? This is a yes or no question. Simple answer. But it will take some time and consideration because that really will force you to consider the other side's policies. You can go to the Annie Fry YouTube page to vote and comment in the chat and tell us what you voted for and why. The time is 12:45. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Are you a business owner? Do you want your voice and the voices of your clients represented? Let us do the talking. Join our community of free thinkers on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Learn more at 971talk.com/partner. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
She's gonna pack up, she's gonna find a way, she's gonna get right out of this. She don't want New York, she don't want all that, she's gonna find her a special kiss. She don't want no soup, she don't want no how, like peaches and cream. She's gonna wish on stars and touch the sky. You know what I mean? She wants the good thing, don't need to refine. She needs to really find what she wants.
All right. Brad was just telling you about the YouTube live chat poll. Is there a position or policy in the opposing party that you support, yes or no? Brad, do you have something teed up for yourself here?
I don't have anything teed up.
Well, I'm going to go through comments from people and we can discuss. Brad and I have a pretty good idea of the political position of a lot of our regulars on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. By the way, you should be a regular. Why aren't you a regular? Come be a regular. Annie Fry YouTube channel. We broadcast live there every day. Come join the chat, like the literal chat. Chris says no. She does not have any position or policy that she supports from the opposing party. She says taxes, healthcare, education, guns, to name a few. Well, as a conservative myself, I agree with Chris. I can't think of anything from a tax standpoint. I fundamentally disagree with the purpose of taxation with my colleagues across the aisle. I think taxation is left. I understand the idea of coming together to fund infrastructure and a military, and I understand the government's role in like the honoring of contracts and having a third party objective arbiter to determine justice. They kind of suck at that right now.
Yeah.
But healthcare, education, guns, taxes, is there anything in that category that you're like, I can even be like palatable about what the left is saying?
Not on taxes, healthcare, education, or guns. I don't agree. I guess that education is important. We could agree, but like after that,
healthcare.
Yeah, but after that, I don't agree with any of their solutions. I don't see any of their solutions as being beneficial. I actually think that whenever we look at things like Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act, that it actually has made the situation worse.
It industrializes something for the purpose of sustaining the institution over the people who are helped.
Right.
Now, with that being said, when it comes to healthcare, other than being closer to the government knowing its role when a Republican is leading the charge, I'm not super impressed with what the Republicans have offered as an alternative to the far overreach of what the Democratic Party.
What I would love to see from the Republicans is just the government getting out of it. I keep going back to this, and I think about this, all the things that I have to interact with the government on to get through my daily life. I'll give you an example. The DMV. You have to go to the DMV to get your driver's license and that sort of thing. Generally, it's a joke. That's not a pleasant experience. I've gone to a couple DMVs and had good experiences, but for the most part, it's so bad because it's so poorly run and the people don't care and all this other stuff that it's become a joke. It's like, oh, going to the DMV, it's not going to be fun. And that just seems to be the theme with anything that the government does. And so I would rather them stay away from vital issues in my life, like healthcare, because I don't think that the government is equipped to help me with that sort of thing.
What the Democrat Party seems to have done with the Affordable Care Act, with Obamacare, is lessen competition for healthcare companies to compete for consumers. When Obamacare came into play and required everyone, you have to have insurance. What they did was guarantee the insurance company that the consumers would be there.
Yes.
They didn't say to the insurance companies, hey, you want customers? Make it worth their while. Flip that on its head, and then the consumer starts benefiting from insurance company A saying, well, we clearly want you to come here, so we're going to lower our premiums. And company B goes, well, we're going to match those lower premiums, and we're going to have smaller deductibles. And what ends up happening is and then company A goes, well, I can't do that small of a deductible, but maybe I can cover more matching in an HSA or an FSA, whatever the case might be. But if you have insurance companies competing, if they're competing across state lines and you're not so confined and attached to your insurance from an employer specifically, I feel like the more competition, the better, as a general rule, in the society that we live in and thrive in the United States of America. And Obamacare was just like, nope, we're going to side with the insurance companies and guarantee that, listen, insurance companies, they're going to be required by law to get insurance. You don't even have to work to earn them. They're just going to have to pick who's the best.
Was it a Democrat policy that hospitals would have to tell you how much they were going to charge you for whatever items, like if you got Tylenol while you were at the
like transparency?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean,
for that.
I was going to say, if that's them, I've supported that. Yeah, I'm all for that.
Yeah. Having to choose in Obamacare for the best of the worst opportunities for you is not a win.
No. So
nice job, Chris. I agree. FR says, yes, I suspect it's like an iceberg. We agreed to about 70%, probably more. It's just not exposed. I don't know, maybe. Let's read Wavy's comment here. I can't think of any Dem policies I like. I don't like, quote, affirmative diversity. And Wavy Lester ran for state senate in Illinois. He's a black man. He's a Republican. He's wonderful. We love Wavy on this show, and he is a fighter, and he is willing to cross those lines and have conversations with people that, in my opinion, the Republican Party fails to. So I kind of lean in when Wavy is talking. He says, but I do like that the Democrats make it, all caps, seem like they care about and represent everyone. The GOP doesn't understand the importance. So that's not a policy or a position. It might be kind of a position that the left has. And I agree with that. I wish the Republicans would get off their duff and go try to compete in places that they have written off as losses, because the Democrats have written people off as wins.
Yes. That's bad.
Be the side that doesn't write someone off and go have a face-to-face conversation and have them tell you no.
Yeah.
But the Republican Party has not done that.
Yeah.
So, Wavy, I think that's a smart move. Kenny says, I'm sure there is something the left has done that I could support, but not the big ones. G-Wib says, I do support one thing of the opposing party, making millions off my family's name. Just hasn't worked out for me so far. All right. Edward is one of our regular, more lefties, I would say. I don't know where he puts himself on the spectrum, but it's certainly left of the average position that I have on this show, and he always contributes nicely to the conversation on the YouTube channel. He says, yes, I don't think trans women should be competing in women's sports. I agree with that on the other side, Edward. And to me, maybe this would be the case on anything that we would agree across party lines, but I don't feel like that should be a Republican value. That should be common sense.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard Riley Gaines' conversation with Joe Rogan about her experience of swimming against Leah Thomas and about how, like when you look at where he would rank among competing against men, he's a fully developed male. He's in a swimsuit, you can tell. He's nothing special in the men's swimming division. He's beating the best women by 2 body lengths and setting records. And when she was on Joe Rogan's podcast, she was talking about how it was this is kind of the thing that really put Riley Gaines on the map, so to speak, because she was talking about they were competing and they tied to the 100th of a second. They tied in a race. And when they got out of the pool and they were lining up for the trophy presentation, they only had 1 trophy. And the committee person representative said, well, we have to give it to Thomas. Leah Thomas, is that Leah's last name?
Yeah.
We have to give it to Thomas. And she said, I did the thing you weren't supposed to do. And I said, why? And the committee person responded, we were told that we need Leah, not him, to be the one who is holding this trophy at this point in time, and I'm sorry. Like, this person apologized to her, and when she's telling the story to Joe Rogan, she basically says, you could see this committee person's face fall because that person knew that this was bologna sausage.
Yeah.
And that she was getting hosed, that Riley Gaines was getting absolutely hosed, that they were making a statement at Riley's expense. And she knew it at that time. And she says at the end of that, at least, I don't know if it's the end of the interview, but it's the end of the clip that I watched. She said she felt shame for even getting into the pool. Like, she shouldn't have even justified the existence of this virtue signaling statement by the NCAA in swimming. She shouldn't have even gotten into the pool to justify it. And I thought, wow, to think that you have this window of opportunity to compete at this high level, and to know that will always have been taken from you. She will always be in a position to look back and know that her experience, which should have been competing at the highest level and having the accolades for what she deserved, which is to be a top female swimmer. I think she swam for Kentucky. To be storied among the Kentucky swimming history, and her whole story is Leah Thomas's story. I would feel very robbed in that regard. Edward, we agree on that. I'm going to come up with something by the end of the show. I've got some things mulling around. I'm going to reach across the aisle and see what I can agree on. All right, let's talk to Tyrus and Brian Westbrook, the executive director for the Foundation of Coalition Life. When we come back.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a car wreck, you need the best. Let us make your case our cause. Car accident? Call Onder Law for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
Annie here, and I can proudly say no more spiders in my home. I use Point Pest Control 4 times a year, and I haven't seen any, not a single one, since they've been in my home. Mention Annie and get 10% on top of any other special. Point Pest Control, 636-798-0023.
You've listened to 97.1 FM Talk. You've heard of Doug Voss of Voss Financial and Safe Money Radio, as he has been a staple as the financial expert on the station for many years. You can hear him on Safe Money Radio several times a weekend right here on 97.1 FM Talk. And you can talk to Doug Voss directly. Here's his number. Call Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That is 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through D.H. Hill Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio, 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Congress has a deadline tomorrow night. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News, to avoid a partial government shutdown. But 1,000 pages of spending bills were just released early today, and some Republicans want to attach the House-passed Laken Riley bill to the package, named after a murdered college student, the suspect in the U.S. illegally.
The bill would require ICE to detain any illegal immigrant charged with theft. Senator Ted Budd wants a vote in the Senate.
This is about remembering her, and this is about preventing tragedies like this from ever happening again.
Some Democrats say the bill is a way to, quote, target and scapegoat immigrants.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz. Time also running out for the former president to post the bond required, more than $450 million, to be able to appeal his loss in a New York civil fraud case.
The fiery back and forth continues between former President Donald Trump's lawyers and New York Attorney General Letitia James. In a new filing this morning, Trump's attorneys arguing James's suggestion Trump sell off his assets to come up with the money would cause enormous irreparable loss, writing, quote, it would be completely illogical in the definition of an unconstitutional excessive fine and a taking to require defendants to sell properties at all, and especially in a fire sale, in order to be able to appeal the lawless Supreme Court judgment. This as Trump's campaign makes an urgent push for donations, asking donors to help save Trump Tower.
Fox's CB Cotton. If the former president can't secure the bond amount by Monday, the state attorney general could freeze his bank accounts and begin the process of seizing assets. The site that calls itself the front page of the internet is now on the New York Stock Exchange. Reddit began trading under ticker symbol RDDT, with shares jumping more than 55% in the first few minutes of trading. Debuting at $47 a share, Reddit had priced its IPO at $34 a share, a market value of more than $6 billion. America is listening to Fox News.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Partly sunny skies, touch below average, 52 for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy, 35. Friday, chilly start, much warmer. Friday afternoon, just a tiny chance of a spot limited shower. Think dry. 69, though, for Friday. Lots of clouds Friday night, 32. The weekend, bouncy we go. Saturday, sunny and chilly, 52. Sunday, partly sunny, 62. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Reardon Fish Fry Fridays conclude this week in Oakville. Join me and the crew at Queen of All Saints Church. We're broadcasting live from 3 to 6 p.m. Details at 971talk.com/events. It's Fish Fry Fridays on The Mark Reardon Show. Hope to see you in Oakville.
Are you ready to smell better naked? I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, the OBGYN creator of Lumi, the whole body deodorant that's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours on pits, feet, privates, and beyond. It's pH optimized to safely and effectively control odor anywhere you have it, but wish you didn't. Plus, it's proven to work better than a shower with soap alone. Whether you shower twice a day or 3 times a week, Lumi works better. And who doesn't want zero body odor? With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I'm so sure you're going to love it, or you can return it for free.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 800 and get an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack that comes with a solid stick, cream tube, free product of your choice, and ships free with code 800. LUMEdeodorant.com, code 800 for an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack. Love it or return it for free. That's LUMEdeodorant.com, code 800.
Experience the beauty of custom-crafted windows that enhance your home's aesthetics and energy efficiency. Look no further than Infinity from Marvin, proudly brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. Why choose Infinity? These windows are not just strong, they're 8 times stronger than vinyl, providing unmatched security for your home. Plus, with Lakeside's expert installation, you're guaranteed precision and perfection. Visit our showroom or call Lakeside Renovation and Design today. Elevate your home with Infinity from Marvin, where strength meets style.
Okay, so you filed your taxes this year, but you know you have past IRS issues. And now the IRS letters are coming. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. Don't ignore those IRS letters. They're important and give you rights and deadlines to defend yourself. Waiting could cause you to lose those rights. Call the Lance Story Law Firm now and let us help you get ahead of the IRS and defend your rights while you still have time. The Lance Story Law Firm is located here in St. Louis, so take the first step and hire a tax resolution attorney. We've made it super easy to schedule your free consultation in person, or you can do a phone call and save travel time. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm. Call today at 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120. Or go visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
I do want to ask, there is a debate in this country over the best way to curb gun violence. After being so close to it, any thoughts?
Yeah, I had to do a lot of thinking about what took place at the parade. I know gun violence was a big discussion, but at the end of the day, this is degenerate violence and it should not be occurring. I think we need strong fathers in the home. I think we need men that are leading, that are setting good examples, that are teaching the young men in our society that violence is not the way to handle our disputes. It's very unfortunate what happened. Unfortunately, many, many children were injured. A beautiful young lady was killed over someone getting offended and turning to violence to handle that dispute. It's so sad. I don't think guns are the issue. I think we need fathers in the home that are being great examples for our youth.
You're becoming like my most stable relationship.
Enough said.
Well, that is the kicker from the Chiefs. We played that sound a little bit before, but I had to take the opportunity to play it for Tyrus, our friend who joins us each Thursday. Welcome back to the show. It's good to have you back, Tyrus.
Always a pleasure.
I've talked to you. I always come back to this conversation because I love your blatant frankness on talking about blatant out in your face because no one's going to challenge you on it.
Just blatant.
Blatant.
Borderline rude.
Yeah. Well, I'm not mad at it. I keep asking you, and I keep asking for more. But
it's like you want the cool story for your uncle, but I do cuss a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ask you about what it means to be a woman, and we've talked about Dylan Mulvaney and so on and so forth, but I don't know how much you and I have spent talking about the importance of masculinity, manhood, its role in our society today, and the absence of amplifying it. And I thought you probably have something to say about that and fatherhood.
Yeah, well, because that's really what's under attack. if you take men out of the equation, then everybody is vulnerable. Like the way our society has worked is men build predominantly. I'm not saying a woman can't do what a man can do, but when it comes to certain things, it has been men. When it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to service and things like that. So the stuff that men do and strive for achievement and be aggressive and successful in capitalism and all those things that go with striving to be the best, to be competitive, to be an alpha male or an alpha female, that's what's really under attack. So saying that every man who confronts your behavior or any man who says something stern or doesn't start with asking you how you feel is toxic masculinity, because they can't beat the system, so they're trying to morph it to be like this minority of a group of people that wants to change the way we do things, and they attack our men and women, and especially now, every time a man does anything, it's toxic. Every movie, the man is either incompetent, a coward, or an evil villain. When's the last time you saw a good dad in a movie?
Yeah.
We have to go all the way back to it's what it is. They attack men. It's an anti-man movement, and they don't have the numbers, but they have control of social media. So they make it look like it's more of a thing. They make it look like when people are in trouble, they don't look for first responders and men to protect the homes and men to keep kids safe. And, to kind of tie on the bun, the punter was 1,000% right. You want to blame an inanimate object instead of the fact that we are going out of our way to, for lack of a better term, castrate American dads, uncles, grandfathers, policemen, people that the kids could look for authority. You try to take them out or tell them that they're inherently bad. So you don't want to be like them because they're bad. You want to be like us. And we get it, and you don't have to do anything because everything should be given to you. That's the message. So you're attacking basically American core values. The morale of this country is under fire. They try to make it to where it's more sexy to be a squatter at a home than to earn to own your home. And I guess that's the end result of that is it's an anti-man, positive man, I guess campaign that they're on right now.
Yeah, it's very well said. We're in the upside down. You said the phrase, if you take men out of the equation, and in my head, I just said to myself, then everyone's a woman. And that's kind of where we are right now. And you also kind of analogously used the word castrate. But these are all very real instances that we're in culturally right now. And in the process, just like you said, like we need, the toxic masculinity, that's how they label it. What kind of toxic masculinity could we put back into society right now, what they would call it? What would you like to see men doing more of now that might solve some of these problems?
Get involved. I'm tired of seeing 9,000 cameramen when a little girl's head's being bounced off the floor. I'm tired of seeing we could just make it a sex thing, I guess. Women being beat up in the subways in this country or in the streets, and everyone's got a great video of it, but nobody ran in, and did something about it. I think that would be.
He did.
Yeah, and luckily we have courts.
Yeah.
Because I think I can't see a judge, and then again, what do I know? I guess what's scary is I guess it's going to depend on the judge's voting habits, on whether he's going to get a fair trial or not.
It's outrageous.
And that's where we're at right now, because the excuses, and we see it used on especially with liberal judges. We're seeing it more and more to where their belief system is somehow the law. And if you don't believe what somebody, we should never know what a judge's political beliefs are. We should never know what a judge's personal thoughts on issues are, because as soon as he does that, I think he has to recuse himself. Because he's being judgmental. He's not being a judge. It's different.
Yeah.
So, but you can't let a Penny situation change who you are, because if one person puts that phone down, and I'm not saying you have to jump in and put him in a rear naked chokehold. In his situation, there was people feared for their lives. They were afraid, and he was a man in the situation. And they try to reduce it to the color of his skin. So because apparently a white man can't save people of color from an aggressive person talking about killing people because of the color of his skin, he's not allowed to. Like that, it doesn't matter what color the skin the person is. If they're willing to save a stranger or just make their presence felt. Like a lot of times when my kids are playing and their friends in the playground and stuff, me standing up every 15 minutes, like, hey, everybody all right? I'm just letting them know I'm there.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's enough. And when you see people, hey, it's getting a little rough, guys, break it up. You don't have to wait till it gets to that point. But again, people, and when you hear the argument, why do I want to get involved? I'm gonna get attacked for it. I don't want the drama. That's the problem. And then that spreads, and now you have people going, well, I don't want to end up like in the subway. So you can't use it as a cop out. You gotta. No one said it was ever easy going to be a man, and we're going to have to deal with these stuff and these fads and these feelings and allowing. But we need to take it for what it is, a grain of salt. If somebody's on Twitter telling you how they feel all the time, chances are they got a pretty good life because they got so much time to be on social media. They're not out working. They're not struggling. So you got to take it for a grain of salt, and you have to start ignoring when the Mulvaneys make a music video, instead of talking about it, you ignore it.
Yeah.
You know, you got to stop. We got to stop giving them so much oxygen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, if it's not, it's just ridiculous. And we have to stop being offended. And almost you have to treat them like when your child's acting up, trying to get extra attention. Good moms ignore them.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good at that.
Ignore them. Yeah, you know, they just ignore them.
Don't
What
look
else you
at
got?
them. Don't talk to them. Don't acknowledge them. Let them
don't
scream
acknowledge
until
them.
they can't scream any longer, and then they'll come talk
And
to
after a while, and then they'll stop. And I think that's a lot of the ways you have to handle the gut reaction when somebody goes with a post that is attacking or attempting to blame men for something, instead of everyone jumping involved trying to explain to somebody who doesn't. They're not there to debate. They're not there to learn. They're not saying, hey, I feel like all men who are bosses and jobs are toxic racists. There's no point having a conversation with that person.
Yeah.
That's how they feel. And we know we can't change their feelings. But we see so many people, these panels, and arguing back and forth instead of just saying, listen, your comments are unacceptable, and I choose not to participate. When they don't get fed for the behaviors, they're going to have to do something else.
Yeah, Tyrus, you know, one of the things that comes along with manhood is fatherhood. And I'm a mom. I've got 4 kids, but I have a husband who is a father to my children. And I would certainly say in our household, we have different roles. I have one son, I have 3 girls. Fatherlessness is such a sad, unfortunate thing in society, and there are so many women who are stepping up and filling the shoes of 2 people. I support those women who are choosing to do that, but I don't know that anybody's looking at that like it's the ideal situation. I think fatherhood is a casualty of the, demasculization of our society as well.
I think for a lot of fathers, the courts are very one-sided. The situation is the man is the stereotypes of what it is to be a man get played against him instead of oftentimes it seems it's more important that a father cuts a check to the mother than he does to show up to pick the kids up.
Yeah.
And that's a bad perception. Now, I grew up without a father. My mother did the best she could, but I'm telling you right now, I relied on coaches and stuff like that. But there are moments in my life that things would have been a lot easier had I had that fatherhood role model that knew me, that could talk to me on a different kind of a level, good, bad, or indifferent. And a lot of father because I'm a father now and I know the moments. Like, perfect example, my son had his championship baseball game this weekend, but I was with my daughter, and I had got on the app and paid for a camera so I could watch my son, on the app, on the little streaming or whatever. And he got hit by his first pitch, and I could see he was upset. And I usually text my son during his game, so when he goes to look at his phone, that he knows I was watching.
Yeah.
So I was texting him, and he was really upset. And his grandmother said, "Well, you're upset to see what your father had to say." And so he was reading my text messages, and I was just telling him, I know you're upset because you got hit. Because I knew the walk. I knew that walk had some tears in it. There's no sound, but I know the way my child's walking that he's upset. And I text him like, "Oh man, there's 2 things you can do about it, son. You can accept it that he hit you, or you can make him and his team pay." And And I noticed that they said red at the bottom, and he's not supposed to be on his phone, but apparently he was upset, and he wanted to look at his dad's text messages. And then next time he gets up, and it's a championship game, he gets up and he hits a home run dead center, and then ties the game up. Then he comes back around, and they're in a battle for the championship, and he hits another one. He jacks 2 home runs. Yeah, he had an ESPN moment.
Isn't it fun to
2
be
dead
watching
shots
the
to
app
center.
as a dad? I've been here as a mom because you're at the other kids thing, and it's like you're at the choir concert, and you're like, yes, and then you're like, oh, just you guys are singing great.
I was at Trampoline World, and my daughter and her friend are jumping around, and when he hit the home run, I jumped up in my chair and was like, yes, across, it like echoed.
Totally.
And I was like, and my daughter spins around Georgie, and she was like, Dad, it was just a flip. What is your problem? Like, no, your brother hit a home run in the game. And she like looks through the screen like, look, you're too big to be yelling like this, Dad. You're going to make people pee.
You make people
You're scaring
react.
people. And I'm like, it's my son. And I'm like, it's not, no, I'm not crazy.
No.
My boy just hit a home run.
It's all visceral.
And then 45 minutes later, I'm watching, he did it again. And so I screamed it again. Oh, I can't believe this. And my daughter was just,
That's
like,
great.
Dad, what is your problem? I say, hey, I do this at your soccer game.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, yes, but everybody at the soccer game knows why you're cheering. People just think you're crazy.
But that's a dad.
And you're really into trampolines. But that's a dad. That's a role. And, I called and I said, tell him the GM's on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I buy all the jerseys and crap. But, like he had that moment. And I asked him, after the game, he was like, no, I was reading your text, Dad, and you were right. And I was like, I'm glad you were there. Even though I physically wasn't there, I found a way to be there.
Right.
And that's something that I never had. I never looked up in the stands. I knew nobody was there.
Yeah.
So I don't know that joy of like looking in the stand. I knew it as a wrestler, looking and seeing my kids in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
That changed the whole way that I did things. So you can make it without it. Your road's going to be tougher, but you will be a stronger person with a father. You will have to find that strength. And a lot of us get lost on the way, or we don't have the courage or the insecurity. And I'm not saying a woman can't raise a man to be successful.
Many do.
That's not what I'm saying. They do. Mine did. But the point is, though, you did it in spite of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a difference. I'm not saying you don't need. If he was there, it would have been a much easier. If he was a good father, he was a bad person, so a bad father. So I was better off that he wasn't in my life in my particular case. But had he had decent skills or decent parents himself, maybe he would have been. But it's always better to have both, even if it's not a traditional family, even if you are the Brady Bunch. An active dad is good. An active, positive dad who's doing dad things is always good. Just like you got to have moms are just as important. But I think for young men growing up, having that male presence and a little bit of fear.
Yeah.
Let's just say it, that physical, like, hey, I can't. A boy gets around 14, his mom's physical stature is probably not going to be as threatening as it was if he's got to worry about dad and old man strength when he's behaving with his boys.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I know media is going to say I'm talking about beating children. That's not what I'm talking about. There is an alpha presence there that the son recognizes.
Tyrus, if
I'm not going to be the King Castle.
If Mediaite is twisting your words, then you're probably saying something spot on. If they're focusing in on that. And that dad strength. I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was.
I got one left for you, son.
And
don't you worry.
Saving it for you when you step across that line.
It needs to be there.
It does. And as a society, we will not be able to value fatherhood until we start valuing men for being men once again. And I'm glad we had that talk. We'll talk about women next time. Thanks,
well,
Tyrus.
As soon as we figure out what they are,
I think you kind of nailed it. And even you take men out of the equation and denigrate them the way you do, then I guess women being a woman is so easy anyone can do it. That's kind of the vibe that I continue to hear, and that ain't the truth either.
That's not even close.
Not even close.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't last a day in y'all's shoes. Not even 15 minutes. I'd be tapping out.
Yeah. Well, Tyrus, we thank you for being here with us. We'll talk to you again next week.
Always a pleasure.
Take care. Bye-bye. Tyrus, he's a regular on Gutfeld, Fox News contributor, a dad, and a husband. And I like talking about culture stuff with him more than politics. Politics it's important from time to time, but those conversations are necessary. And the more we have them, maybe the more that you have them in your life, and we'll spread the word. Men being men again, and valuing fathers for the distinct roles that they play in our lives. Which is a really perfect segue to our next guest. Brian Westbrook is going to join us in studio. He's the executive director and founder of Coalition Life. I am so incredibly honored to be the MC for the Coalition Life March on the Arch. It's this Saturday, March 23rd. You can check in at 9:30 a.m. The rally starts at 11, and the march begins at noon. It starts at Aloe Plaza, which is across from Union Station on 20th and Market Street, and it's going to go all the way to the Arch grounds. And you know that I have a heart on fire for supporting the lives of the unborn, but there is a loving way to do this, and showing up this weekend is one of those ways. And Coalition Life is fighting for the unborn, and we're going to speak with Brian Westbrook in just a few minutes as he joins us in studio. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/free. Ramp.com/free. RAMP.com/free.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
We're entering remodeling season. If you've considered new windows, let me recommend my friends at Window World. Mark Cox here. Here's the great thing about Window World. Not just the preferred window of our hometown St. Louis Blues, they're now the official window of the world champion Kansas City Chiefs. So if you're considering replacement windows, this is the company you want to work with. I'm a satisfied customer. I've got 2 other windows in my master bathroom. We couldn't be happier with those. They have a lifetime warranty that covers all the parts, all the glass breakage and labor. There's a reason why in just over 20 years of business, they've improved the look and thermal efficiency of 72,000 plus customers in the greater St. Louis area. A Window World is fantastic. The windows are so durable. Not only do they stand behind their windows, at the showroom, they actually stood on a window right in front of me. You're going to love it. 314-993-1800. That's 314-993-1800 or windowworld.com.
Life is challenging and ever-changing. Take control with passive income through real estate investing. Learn how. Learn now. Let Del Walmsley and Lifestyles Unlimited's investors and mentors show you. Meet Del's team live in St. Louis 2 days only at the Hilton Frontenac. Saturday and Sunday, April 27th and 28th. Register now at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. That's GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Enter promo code 2024 for a special discount offer. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Code 2024.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. 9 out of 10 homes are under insulated. Is yours? Did you know that there's an R value associated with insulation? To find out your R value or for free insulation estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, is it possible to completely eliminate the income tax in Missouri?
It can be done. We need to quit subsidizing people that don't want to work and stop taxing people that are working.
Weekdays from 3 to 6. You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
I remember when you said don't hate me. One day I'm getting out of here. Even if it drives me crazy, just know I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you. You are not an island. You are not lost to sea.
Hey Pro-Life Jen, it's Reagan Barklage with Students for Life of America, and I can't wait to see you on March 23rd for the March on the Arch. Now, with this potential ballot referendum coming our way, it is critical that we come together as a city, state, community to show that we will not cave to this extreme pro-abortion agenda, that we're going to keep doing what we always do here in Missouri, and that's support women facing their unplanned pregnancies with incredible life-affirming resources. So let's let our voices be heard and come together on March 23rd for the March on the Arch.
Well, that voice is Reagan Barklage, and Reagan, as I understand it, is going to be there at the March for on the Arch this Saturday. I am going to be the MC of this. I am so incredibly excited for this event to come together with you, downtown St. Louis, to come together en masse and support life. And we are here with Brian Westbrook, who is the executive director and foundation of Coalition Life. Learn more at coalitionlife.com to talk to us a little about this and that initiative that I know that a lot of you have been hearing about. Thank you for being in here, Brian. It's good to have you.
Well, it's an honor, and it's so much fun always to be on the radio.
Yeah, of course. So let's first talk a little bit about the march. Just in practical sense, people are going to meet out across from Union Station at Allo Plaza, and that's where it starts at 11 a.m. If people want to come, do they need to sign up? How do they get involved?
Yeah, sure. Register at stlmarch.com. That's stlmarch.com. Again, the rally starts at 11 o'clock. The march starts at noon. We have some really great speakers lined up for that. And really talking about supporting women, supporting life. And so, please register beforehand and then come and show up and support life.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to being a part of this. I appreciate that you've said this, Reagan said this, I say this all the time, that supporting life is supporting women. And I have done a lot of work with the V-Type Foundation. I've done work with other entities, local women's I don't know if like Mosaic, Pregnancy Center, Thrive, so on and so forth. And these are people who show up for women at their greatest need. These women can go to a place like that, or they can go to a place like Planned Parenthood. And I live in Illinois, and my governor seems to want to make us the destination capital of abortion in the country, or at least the Midwest.
Yeah, of course they did. After the Dobbs decision, the state of Illinois had the highest rate of increase in abortions, over 20% increase in 1 year. In the state of Illinois, the governor is just begging people to come into the state of Illinois, especially down in Carbondale. There are 3 brand new abortion facilities in Carbondale, Illinois. It's not far. It's a 2-hour drive from St. Louis here. But what we find is that women are coming from Texas, Indiana, Tennessee, Kentucky, all of these other states in the southern part of the U.S., all flooding into Carbondale, Illinois. So we have a team down there. We're working
What's the team do?
So the team does something called sidewalk counseling. And so what we do is we go out directly in front of these abortion facilities, and we have a professional team that then offers direct alternatives. So we're working with a pregnancy center down there, but then also our Women's Care Connect Pregnancy Center will help them to find resources where they live, right? There's tons of resources in all of these other variety of states, but for some reason, Planned Parenthood and other abortion allies of theirs, they will pay for their travel to, whether it's Fairview Heights, Illinois, to that Planned Parenthood, or to Carbondale. They'll pay for their travel and everything else to get there. But if they don't do the abortion, they won't pay for their travel home. It's kind of disgusting.
That's hard to fit in my brain. Because you have to ask yourself, what is that investment for? And I mean, that's wow. That's wow.
It's really disgusting. So the state of Illinois will pay for their abortion, will pay for their travel, will bring them into the state, take the life of the child, and then send them home. but it doesn't change their problems. But in our pregnancy center, we talk about the real problems these women are going through. Many are facing homelessness. They're facing a lot of poverty, abuse. Many of them are caught in sex trafficking, and all they're doing is covering up all of these problems. You want to talk about rape and incest? I mean, this is happening, and the abortion only covers up all of those problems.
Right.
And so at our pregnancy center, Women's Care Connect, along with our good friends over at Thrive and Mosaic and Birthright, all these great places, we want to actually help them with their underlying challenges. The child is not the problem. The underlying challenges are. And that's what we want to do as both a pro-life movement and also the agencies and the 75 pregnancy centers here in the state of Missouri.
It is, especially with the way you just put it, it is amazing the multitude of sins that are hidden by the existence and the encouragement of abortion. That I believe that life starts at conception. That's what I believe. I think that's what science says. I understand politically that the way laws are going to be changed over the course of time, it's probably going to be incremental. I don't think abortion is ever completely going to be illegal in the United States of America. So I'm willing to take any win there. But I've also emphatically encouraged listeners of this show to understand that waiting on a politician to solve this problem means it will never be solved. This is a cultural problem. This is a cultural rot where we have a group of people who are taking advantage of something that I think is the most evil thing plaguing society today to cover those other horrid things that exist in our society. And we have to show up in Carbondale, and we have to show up in Fairview Heights, and we have to show up to support these women who are given the opportunity to choose life. We have to support them when they choose life. We have to be there. And it seems to me like Coalition Life is fighting that fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Every single day, we have a professional team out there. We started the ministry some 12 years ago with a basic prayer vigil to stand on the sidewalk, hold a sign, and say a couple of prayers. We've now seen over 4,000 women leave and choose life at these abortion facilities. And so we know that if we go out with a professional team, that we can make a really huge impact and actually help these women with a lot of their hardships. But again, the other side of this argument, they don't want to actually help them. Instead, they want to send them off with an abortion and then never talk to them ever again until they get pregnant again, and then they continue the cycle over and over and over again. And so that's why we need groups, supporting life and also donors, of course. And then also, we've got opportunities, whether it's social media or other things, to actually talk about this issue. Back when I was working at an engineering firm, I wouldn't talk to my coworkers. I wouldn't talk to people around me about it because it's this kind of, issue that's, it's okay with the politicians to talk about it, but maybe not me.
Right.
But I think I encourage us to talk about it at the dinner table in our workplace because it's going to be coming pretty hot and heavy here in the next 8 months as we might see this ballot initiative in Missouri.
So let's talk about the ballot initiative. This is something, it's very simple for me to bring up abortion in Illinois and then talk forever about the multitude of sins that are being put upon women in the state of Illinois and all of those that travel to Illinois to get those services. A lot of people would look at Missouri and say, well, they eradicated abortion. There's nothing to worry about there. Tell me about this initiative that is out there right now, what it's being posed as and what it really is.
Yeah, so they're proposing this as being a simple, replacement for Roe versus Wade, right? Because they lost Roe versus Wade on the Dobbs decision a couple years ago. And so they think that they can sell this to the people of Missouri saying, well, no, it's just a basic, we'll bring a few abortions back to Missouri, only in few cases. But that's not what the language says in this ballot initiative. The language clearly says that it's late-term abortion and for any reason at all, bringing that back to Missouri. And it gives the abortionist and anyone involved in any so-called reproductive health full immunity. So if they kill a woman during an abortion, they get full immunity. If she gets in a car accident on the way to an abortion or even just a simple OBGYN appointment, this gives full immunity for any person involved in reproductive health. So that also involves if she's being sex trafficked, that involves the trafficker. That involves the people who are forcing or pressuring her into an abortion. I don't know about you, but I don't support late-term or forced abortion, especially not in Missouri.
Absolutely. So they're marketing it as what are they saying? If the language, which I'm reading right here in my hand, of what they've put together says what you are saying it says, how are they getting people to sign?
Yeah, so in the state of Missouri, in a sense, there are no abortions happening in the state of Missouri, with the exception of the emergency conditions of the life of the mother. So the physical health of the mother. But what they're putting in here is they're saying that the abortionist can determine on their own good judgment on her mental health. So what that means is basically if she's having a bad day and the abortionist says, well, I think it's better for her to have an abortion instead of her having a worse day tomorrow, then he can go ahead and do that. And it will not allow municipalities or governments to present zoning laws because of this. So that basically means that they can put an abortion facility next to your kid's elementary school. So, I mean, this is really, really dangerous.
Quite a Trojan horse.
Right? And it's also, it doesn't actually say gender reassignment surgeries, but it fully covers gender reassignment surgeries, meaning that a parent could be pushed out of the entire conversation, and a school or anybody else could force your child to get reassignment surgery. It's hard to even say those terms, but without your knowledge, and if you got in the way, that you would be the one prosecuted, not the other people.
Well, I mean, if people think that sounds ridiculous, that's actually a part and parcel what's taking place in the state of Illinois right now. Those are active measures that are passed or trying to be passed to eliminate the parent's role in the decisions. These are health decisions for your child. And when you have to call so that my kid can have an Advil because they have a headache at school, but you can enforce these types of persuasions onto kids. You can require educators who are aware that children are having certain thoughts or feelings and they've talked to a teacher about it, and then the teacher is not allowed to discuss those things with the parents at meetings or whatever. I mean, this is definitely in practice in other places. If people want to combat this initiative, how can they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, it's not yet on the ballot. If someone approaches you and asks you to sign this petition, I would first ask them very detailed questions about what exactly is on this ballot initiative. I want to see the language. And I'd ask our listeners to think twice before signing. I mean, think really long and hard about the ramifications of this late-term abortion, forced abortion initiative petition. It's going to have ripple effects throughout the entire state of Missouri and beyond. So first and foremost, think twice before signing, and especially those people approaching you. Come out to our March on the Arch, stlmarch.com. There's a lot of speakers who are going to be talking in much more detail about this and also what you can do to support women and also support our work and the work of others at coalitionlife.com.
Amen to that. I'll be there. I hope I get to see you there. stlmarch.com. One of the things I try to highlight this when it comes up, and there's a lot of discussion taking place on the YouTube channel right now too about when is it appropriate, when is it not appropriate, and so on and so forth. But I've talked to several OB/GYNs about this issue, and it's a specific question that I ask them: is it ever necessary to end the life of the baby to save the life of the mother? And the answer is no.
Right.
There are times where labor will be induced and the baby may not survive that. But it's never required to dismember and end the life of a baby. You could force delivery. Something could go wrong during delivery. The child may not be able to survive outside of the womb at the early point in that delivery that is necessary. But when you understand exactly the grotesque nature with which abortions are being induced, be it through pill form or the actual plucking limb by limb of a child from the womb of a mother, they got to lay it out on the tray to make sure they get all the pieces of the baby outside of the mother. That's never required to save the life of the mother. And it's something that's used to have a conversation about 94% of abortions that don't occur in those cases with rape, incest, and the life of the mother It's just kind of a distraction to the actual conversation of all these women who are in a clinic and they're scared and they're alone. And if you want to support those women, then be there for them and help them choose life and help them understand. This is another thing that a lot of the places that you listed in Coalition Life as well. It's not just about the pregnancy to the birth. There is support at these agencies that are around this area that are life focused places that help far beyond that.
Right. I mean, we've served thousands of women throughout the last 12 years, and across the board, they all feel like they're pressured, forced, coerced. They have no other options, which is, I think, ironic because the other option calls themselves the choice option.
Yeah.
Right?
That implies.
Right. That there's multiple choices here. Yeah. And what we actually find is that when we talk to these women, they are feeling very pressured. Yeah. Whether it's from society, from a boyfriend, from a parent, somebody else is pressuring or forcing them into these abortions. And I'm sure some of your listeners, well, that wouldn't be the case for me or that's fine. But that's not the case for the thousands of women that we've spoken to over and over again. And so instead, they're looking for solutions. They're looking for help where society has failed them. We, the pro-life movement, want to stand in the gap and offer them so much help and resources, of course, for the first 9 months and then beyond, where we can help them set them up for success, set them up to help them get a job, help them get housing, help them with material needs they might have for themselves and also for their baby. And there's stories and stories over and over of all these successes. And it's interesting that somehow the other side says that you can't have both an education and a baby at the same time. Mm-hmm. They say, well, you can't be successful and have a baby at the same time. And they discount women, but I don't. Yeah. I think that women are strong and can do both of these things. And I mean, my wife has, we have 7 children at home. If she can do it, I think they can do it as well.
Amen. And society should be there to support that. Brian Westbrook, thanks for being with us. I want to encourage people to go to coalitionlife.com to learn more about that initiative. But also, would you come see me on Saturday, March 23rd? The rally starts at 11 a.m. You can sign up at stlmarch.com. I would love to see you. Pro-woman, pro-child, pro-life. Join me. Let's do this together this Saturday. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you.
It's an honor.
All right. Take care. Let's take a quick break. A little more chat on that YouTube live chat poll when we come back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
Mark Cox, join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group. They're holding their next Protecting Your Retirement educational event Tuesday, March 26th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Seats are limited, so go online at retirementkey.com. Here's Thomas with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and wondering what to do with your life savings? Are you concerned about market volatility that's likely to occur as we get closer to the election? Would you like to know why linking to the market is smarter and safer than owning the market? Did you know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any losses and provide more income than your current plan? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you can't afford to miss this event.
Protect your retirement nest egg and join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw, Tuesday, March 26th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ziprecruiter.com/radio. That's ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for the Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. I depend on them for eye care, and they have an announcement. They're pleased to welcome Dr. Samuel Berry to their practice. Dr. Berry is a cornea surgeon, and he has the latest knowledge and techniques for advanced eye care and treatment in the field. So what do we call them now? The doctors? No, just the best doctors to see for your best vision. In St. Louis, you can reach them at 314-966-5000. They've treated more than 250 doctors, more than any others in the practice. Now, if you need help with dry eye, LASIK surgery, maybe you have glaucoma, macular degeneration. I had an eye disease when I was just 25 years old, so my eyes are very important to me. You get the absolute best care with the Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Bersati, Andy Royer, and now Dr. Samuel Berry. 314-966-5000 or visit youridoc.com. They have a great location just off Manchester Road, a half-mile west of 270. Ophthalmology Associates.
Hey, it's Bo Matthews for Beast Plumbing, your new plumber. Whether it's plumbing, water heaters, clogged drains, or water treatment like water filtration and water softeners, call on the best. That's Beast Plumbing, 314-500-LEAK. That's 314-500-LEAK.
Today's YouTube live chat poll. Is there any position or policy in the opposing party that you support? I'm still working on this one, and I think a lot of you are too, but that's okay. You got plenty of time to vote. Jump on Annie's YouTube page, youtube.com/@AnnieFry, and find the live stream, vote there, the poll's there. And then since you're there, go ahead and comment. Tell us yes or no, and then tell us why, what policies you agree with that the other side promotes. So the time now is 1:50. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
The Reardon Fish Fry Fridays conclude this week in Oakville. Join me and the crew at Queen of All Saints Church. We're broadcasting live from 3 to 6 p.m. Details at 971talk.com/events. It's Fish Fry Fridays on The Mark Reardon Show. Hope to see you in Oakville.
That she's back in the atmosphere with drops of Jupiter in her head. She acts like summer and walks like rain. Reminds me that there's
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Instagram @The Annie Fry Show.
Since the return of a stay on the moon, she listens like spring and she talks like June. Well, tell me, did you
Welcome
say
back to the Annie Fry Show. Appreciate you being with us here this afternoon. I'm just saying, what was the weather going to be like? I need to check that out for this Saturday. I'm excited to be a part of this event and to MC the March on the Arch, Saturday, March 23rd, this Saturday. The rally starts at 11 a.m., and you should come join us. It's out in front of Union Station, Aloe Plaza, which is right across from Union Station, 20th and Market. And we're going to rally at 11. The march starts at 12. Walk down to the Arch. That's the extent of it. What a smart way to spend your Saturday afternoon. I hope you'll join us. You know, when the YouTube live chat poll is there any position or policy in the opposing party that you support, yes or no? I've said this many times, and I do not feel like I will ever shift my position on when life begins. I think life begins at conception. I don't think that the unfortunate method that conception may occur in changes the scientific fact that that's when life begins. I do understand that in the United States of America, there isn't going to be a scenario where you're going to be forcing 10-year-olds who were, impregnated by a family member or something, that child is going to be forced to be born. I understand that. I think that is such a unique, it's an important part of the conversation. I'm not saying it's not the part that needs to be discussed, like let's pretend it doesn't happen. But boy, do we only ever talk about those times? Do we not ever talk about the people who have repeat abortion and they use it as a birth control? We should. There's got to be something wrong with that. And I think that when you ask the majority of people about abortion, I've never really, that's not true. I do know people who are really into supporting abortion. Most people would call themselves pro-choice. Most people would not call themselves pro-abortion. And most people, if they found out that maybe somebody had like 6 or 7 abortions, and that's just essentially how they controlled whether or not they were going to have to give birth, most people are offended by that. Most people see something wrong with that. So is it the 6th abortion that makes it bad? Is it the 4th? Is it the 2nd? At what point does it become something that makes you kind of viscerally go, no, that's not what I'm okay with? And why is it that you would be okay with 1 abortion but not 6 abortions? What is less valuable about the 1 abortion than the 2nd and the 3rd and the 4th and the 5th and the 6th? What makes that first abortion less valuable? We also fail to account for the many women who are put in a position and told that abortion is nothing. It's no big deal. Just we'll take care of you. Got $300, we'll take care of you. 10 years later, they have met the person that they want to spend the rest of their life with. They get married, they conceive, they're excited to have this child. They get the 6-week, I've had 6-week ultrasounds. I've had 10-week ultrasounds. I've had 12 and 13-week ultrasounds. I've had 18-week ultrasounds, 20-week, whichever one of those. When that abortion occurred the first time, or the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th, 5th, and 6th, were they 10 weeks along? You see that 6-week ultrasound and you see the heart beating? You think that doesn't have an effect on that woman who was lied to before? Like, actually deceived into thinking that there was some sort of female flex in going through with that abortion. There's so much, what's the word? Misinformation, disinformation that encourages women to do something, and it's really for a political advantage that woman will never enjoy because she'll always have been on the other side of that abortion. If you are somebody who believes in life, even a qualified version of it, come join us and just be with like-minded people this Saturday on March 23rd. Starts at 9:30 when you can check in. The rally begins at 11, and we'll start marching at 12. I'd love to see you there. We'll be right back.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just 1 dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
The Retirement Advisory Group is inviting you to the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. I'm going to be there. I hope you will too. It's Tuesday. And when you go and you listen to what Thomas Helbig is going to be able to teach you, when you learn from Bob Kershaw and Tammy Kershaw and the entire staff, the team, they're all there from the Retirement Advisory Group, setting you up for success. Because when you're right at that retirement point, you're maybe within 5 years of when retirement is going to happen, you need to start making some moves. You can't just save, and go, one day I'm going to retire. You're going to want to make sure that you have positioned yourself for great success once you get to retirement. And Thomas Helbig is the one to do that. Tuesday, March 26th at the Frontenac Hilton, 6:30 p.m. is when the event starts. I'm going to get there at 6 and try to meet every single one of you before 6:30 hits. Come join me. 314-993-9494. Get your spot reserved. 314-993-9494. retirementkey.com.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The U.S. keeps pushing for a new deal on Gaza. On Lisa Brady, Fox News. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, after meeting with Egypt's president, says an immediate and sustained ceasefire with the release of hostages would allow for a surge in humanitarian assistance.
100% of the population of Gaza is experiencing severe levels of acute food insecurity. We must not allow that to continue.
He has meetings planned tomorrow in Israel and says he still believes a new deal between Israel and Hamas is possible, though he says difficult work remains. Apple is being sued by the Justice Department and more than a dozen states.
As our complaint alleges, Apple has maintained monopoly power in the smartphone market, not simply by staying ahead of the competition on the merits, but by violating federal antitrust law.
Attorney General Merrick Garland says the tech giant's control and restrictions end up costing consumers more. Apple denies the allegations and says the suit is government overreach. The United Nations takes a global step toward regulating development and use of artificial intelligence with a U.S.-sponsored resolution approved by consensus, meaning all 193 members of the UN General Assembly sign on.
The aim is to set a foundation that develops AI in a safe, secure, and trustworthy way. U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield said the world must work together on this.
We must focus on capacity building and close the digital divides within and between countries so that everyone can benefit.
The U.S. has been a strong advocate for the consensus resolution, saying it was the best way to spark a global conversation about AI development.
Fox's Gernal Scott, the EU recently passed the world's first comprehensive AI regulations, with the U.S. and other countries already working on rules. America is listening to Fox News.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Partly sunny skies, touch below average, 52 for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy, 35. Friday, chilly start, much warmer. Friday afternoon, just a tiny chance of a spot-limited shower. Think dry. 69, though, for Friday. Lots of clouds Friday night, 32. The weekend, bouncy we go. Saturday, sunny and chilly, 52. Sunday, partly sunny, 62. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, health care, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
Proper insulation in your home or business can save you money every month. The insulation experts at Koala Insulation of Gateway West in Metro East Illinois deliver efficiency and improved comfort. Big or small, Koala has you covered. Call or text Koala Insulation of Gateway West in Metro East Illinois at 314-756-5661 and find them on Facebook or check out the reviews at koalainsulation.com/gateway-west.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-478-6688. That's 1-800-478-6688. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-478-6688. That's 1-800-478-6688.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
Why are people saying Hugh yeah to Jackson Hewitt? When you switch to Jackson Hewitt, they will beat what you paid last year on tax prep, even if you filed online. Proof of prior year payment required when filing. New clients only at participating locations through April 7th. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
The Reardon Fish Fry Fridays conclude this week in Oakville. Join me and the crew at Queen of All Saints Church. We're broadcasting live from 3 to 6 p.m. Details at 971talk.com/events. It's Fish Fry Fridays on The Mark Reardon Show. Hope to see you in Oakville.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Ethan, it's good to have you back.
Oh, it's always a pleasure.
Are you a Spartan fan?
I am a Spartan fan.
How come?
Family. I've had some family connections. Just kind of grew up with that ugly green color in my blood. I'm willing to admit it's a terrible color.
You don't like the color
it's
green?
The only time that I will wear green.
You like a Kelly green?
No, I'm just not a fan of just of green in general.
Green that's one of my least more favorite. Of a forest green.
Yeah.
At Michigan State, you go to Notre Dame, and if they wear their greens, it's a Kelly green.
It's just not really my thing. I'm not saying it doesn't work for other people. Just not a fan of it personally. But I'll wear it for the Spartans.
That's what I say. Do you pick
the only green in my wardrobe?
Brad and Ethan are both in my son's pool for the.
I gotta pay for that still.
Yeah, that's why you're here. You don't get
to it, Ethan.
I need $10.
Hey, you can join the show, but immediately after asks if I can join her son's bracket. Like, is there a coincidence going on here?
How many times in writing was I like all capital? No pressure whatsoever.
See, but in text, no pressure means that if you don't, then you're off the show.
Totally
the rest
pressure.
Of the week.
You should ask Leah, because I asked Leah. I'm like, I don't think Leah doesn't strike me as somebody who's like on the up and up with college basketball. Leah, come in here. We'll ask her because she's here. It's didn't seem like it was something that she was probably super into, but You guys both know what it's like to play in a pool, a bracket pool, with somebody who picked things with no knowledge whatsoever, and they tend to do just fine in one of those crazy upset scenarios.
And this is what makes college basketball, March Madness so beautiful, is someone can know absolutely nothing about it and end up with all of the glory.
Yeah.
That's
yeah, but
awesome.
sometimes that someone is Wiggins, and you're like, ugh.
Had to be Wiggins.
I don't think he filled one out this year.
No, I don't know.
He had to do the Japan thing.
Did you do the Odyssey? The Odyssey
No.
one? I didn't see the email till this morning.
Did you do it?
No, I was too late.
Too late.
Yeah.
I didn't fill one out myself this year because my son, one of the baseball team fundraisers that they have is a bracket pool. We give back half the money, and then the other half, if you raised it, you get to use it. And I almost always fill one out. But when you do the 3 brackets for $25 thing, my husband filled one out because he's running the show. And then now I have 2 kids who are old enough and pay more attention to college basketball than I do. So it was like, you 2 fill them out. So I'm going to wait and see which one of those does well and cheer for that one.
I saw a tweet earlier that said something along the lines of like, my daughter is sick today, home with strep on the first day of college. I've never been a more proud father in my life.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I aspire for right there. I'm like, oh, I remember growing up in class, like in the middle of math class, like somehow coming up with an excuse for how can I have my laptop out to have these games up on my
I'm take
on my
extra
computer.
good notes.
I tell you what, it was the Thursday and Friday of college basketball while still in school was just the best thing in the world. Like knowing you're being sneaky and having it up, especially as I was a goody 2-shoes. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so bad right now. Like I'm watching college basketball during class.
That's the same kind of level of rule breaking that I would participate in. I've told this story before about the Cardinals being in the postseason in October, and I was in media critical theory, which was one of the 3, these are the make or break, get out of communication school at SIU. And I had tickets to 1 game, and you could only miss, it was a Wednesday night class once a week. And so you could only miss maybe 2 the entire semester. And I got tickets for 1 game, but it was on a Wednesday. Missed that one. And then the next week they played on that Wednesday as well. And I had would it have been a Walkman? Do you know what a Walkman is?
I do, but only
Don't
because
say it like that.
I do.
I actually was in a museum.
We dug one of those up in my archaeology class.
I only do because, as we mentioned yesterday, I kind of bounce around everywhere here at these stations, and they did I don't remember what they called the segment, but I was working with Chris and Amy one day, and they did like a Does Ethan Know segment.
Oh.
Where they did a bunch of just old things that I would not know.
Did you learn about Walkmans from Camo X?
Yes, I did not know. I had heard of it before, but I didn't know actually like what it was or what its purpose was.
That is multiple layers of funny to me.
You're welcome.
But you just recently learned what a Walkman was.
Yeah, that was like a few months ago.
I don't know if I had an actual Walkman, but it was a portable radio, like maybe something you would use for running or something like that. But I had the earbud. I had it in my hoodie, or in a shirt that had a pocket, like a pouch pocket in the front, under a hoodie with the earbud up and through my arm sleeve, and then it was in a hair tie. I had a hair tie just like I have right here around my hand like this, and then you just stick the earbud through the hair tie, so it's just there. So anytime I wanted to put my head on my hand, the earbud would be right there, and I could listen to Camo X probably.
It sounds like you did this more than once.
Man.
Like you really had this whole setup down here.
I was really doing deep research into the field of communications.
How to best exercise while listening to Cardinals
That is
baseball.
so incredibly different than my college experience because my college professors would put the game up on the overhead.
Probably not in media critical theory.
It was
at one point I was not the only one who was doing this in the class. There were various versions of it.
It was like a music appreciation class.
Yeah. I took some of those credits too.
I'm trying to think if I ever had to in college. I don't think I ever had any clashes with Cardinals playoff games. I definitely did in the first ever postseason game I went to. It was the first ever time that my dad was a principal in our district. So I don't remember what we actually said. I don't know if we said just like, I don't know if we said sick or if we actually just put down like going to cards.
Going to the game.
I think we may have done.
You can do that now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Maybe
feel
that's
like
what we did.
I
Maybe
don't
that's
feel
what we
like
did.
growing up that you could just skip school for a reason that your parents thought was worthy. Like you had to make it seem like there was no alternative to missing school. Like I'm sick, and if I come, I will cause contagion throughout the course of
That's
school.
even
Or
how
I have to
kind
go
of
to-
that's kind of how it was even in my house growing up. Like it was like you're going to school. Like
Yeah.
you are not missing school. I mean, I did not miss school a lot growing up, and so for it to happen for a reason like that is like, all right, well, you know that Cardinals baseball is at that level. You know, just it's life around here.
It's time. Yeah, I completely agree. I did that same kind of rule breaking. Here's an article from Yahoo. And the headline is the headline. I am not prepared for life.
Amen.
Millennials blame their boomer parents for not teaching them how to be responsible adults.
Yeesh.
This is the most millennial thing ever.
A discussion on an online platform has unveiled a shared sentiment among millennials regarding their upbringing by baby boomer parents, specifically highlighting a perceived lack of preparedness for adult life. Conversation initiated by a 38-year-old woman on Reddit, where millennials go to whine like babies. I added that last part.
Oh, nice.
Reflects on personal experiences and seeks input from others on how they were prepared for life's challenges. Reflecting on her upbringing, the initiator of the discussion noted, quote, "When I reflect on how I was parented, I don't remember my parents ever giving me any type of life advice." I don't really feel like my parents spent a lot of time sitting me down and saying, let's talk about life. Because they were boomers and they didn't talk about it. They just did it. And you had expectations to do the same thing. And you couldn't Google it. You couldn't go anywhere else for advice. So you just had to look at the people around you and going, what's working for them? Okay, guess I'm going to have to get a job and pay some bills and move out. But it is so millennial to be like, we didn't talk enough about it. Well, of course you didn't talk about it. And if you talked about it now, you would just judge them for the things that they would have actually had to do to teach you life that you couldn't perceive on your own.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to just figure out like what kind of things specifically, because like you said, I feel like a lot of it is just learning by action. So much of what I have seen from how I was raised and what I believe in now and miscellaneous is because I saw my parents do it.
Right.
And if I had questions, I would ask.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to figure out like what kind of things specifically, if you saw them doing it, but like what kind of things would those be?
What were you missing out on? Yeah. You're Gen Z, right?
I get them all mixed
I think
up.
you
I
might
don't know
be.
what I am.
It goes on to say, she said her parents,
I don't know.
if you're questioning who you are, that makes you something these days. She said her parents did not teach her to save money or to appreciate the swift passing of time, particularly regarding education and personal growth. Her story resonates with a broader experience among millennials where parental guidance on practical life skills was minimal or absent. I've thought before that we spend a lot of ridiculously stupid amounts of time educating kids on impractical things. Like, for instance, here's a good example. My senior year of high school. Now, I transferred. I went to a Lutheran high school, Metro East Lutheran High School, my freshman year, junior, and senior year. I went to Edwardsville High School my sophomore year. Story for a different time. I didn't get in any trouble. I went there, played 3 sports at Edwardsville. All my friends were at Metro, and I just wanted to go back. That's the very truncated. It's not much more dramatic than that. My senior year, because I had shifted schools back and forth a little bit, I took some honors classes at the public high school. They didn't transfer back in the exact same way of the private school circumstance. I was going to have to take honors chemistry 2 in order to graduate high school with honors. It was offered during one period at that time. There was only one period you could take it, and it was offered the same time as journalism, which I think I wanted to do for a living. Now, would it be more practical for me on the long haul to take journalism class or to struggle through honors chem 2? I passed chem. I think I was in honors chemistry. I don't know if I was in honors chemistry. Whatever it was, I didn't learn nothing. I remember having one of my older sister's friends tutoring me before a final, and she was keeping the scorebook for like City League softball at this local park, and I was sitting up there, and she was teaching me chemistry so I could cram as much. Like, how do I remember how to do this on the test? There was no way that I was going to pass honors chem 2. And my dad said to me, Annie, if you want to wear another cord around your neck at graduation, I will buy one for you, and you can wear it. Take journalism. And I remember like feeling such a relief with that advice, because you're always kind of like trying to chase the accolade or the thing to an impractical extent. I ended up taking journalism. I ended up being the editor of the school newspaper. I got a degree in communications. I'm glad I went that route. But could we have had a course that was expected of you that was more broad about managing finances? I took economics, but it was like one semester, and I don't know that it really broadly stuck the importance of investing. I mean, it seems to me like something that could be involved in education, but like if you don't feel like you know enough, you got to go figure out how to learn those things, and you got to ask the questions.
I took resource management skills, I believe, when I was 17. You don't care. Like, that's the thing too, is like at that point, like, especially in today's society where it's so normal for like, okay, you're going to college and then you'll have 4 more years until you actually have to adult. You feel so far away from that.
Perfect.
That there's not even like, I feel like much of an interest to like actually learn those things.
You just said something important. You said the word adult as a verb, which is something that the young people do, and millennials are included. The fact that you would name, like, not you, Ethan, this is not an attack on you. This is even from the people who come before you.
Okay.
And after me, the idea of adulting, like, you named the freaking thing. If you named it, you must deem it to have some worth. So ask the questions. Don't just be like, how are you 38 years old and be like, well, my dang parents never taught me about finance. You are 38 years old. It's too late for you.
That's a little late.
You're past the point of knowing that you should have put even 1% away into retirement. You should figure out how to save $50 as a starter a month and put it into something that will gain interest, even if it's just for the sake of understanding that you have to do some sort of investing. You don't think you can afford it? You can. You're making choices every day. This is what the old boomers would tell you, but they'd smack you around while they did it.
Like literally smack you, like
Probably,
physically smack you as they
Brad?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hand, switch.
I mean, the millennial generation, especially the younger half of the millennial generation, super soft.
Yeah.
Maybe those parents were soft on them. My parents were not soft on me. I wouldn't say they were hard on me, but they just had expectations, and they weren't willing to bend them at my whim.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I watch. I have a lot of interactions with parents and their kids, and I get a chance to observe like third-party fly on the wall kind of stuff. And I always compare and contrast how my parents would treat me versus how these parents are dealing with their children. And some of those things, I would watch their kid do something that would be absolutely outrageous, and then I'm looking at the parents like,
what are you going to do
What are you going to do about it? And they don't do anything. And you're like, seriously? You going to let them get away? This is why we have problem with adults not being able to be adults.
Yeah. I mean, it is a really, really bad sign if you're almost turning 40 and you're failing at life and you're like, well, my parents didn't tell me.
Thanks a lot, Sue and Harold. Freaking jerks. Hey, full disclosure, every time you guys have been saying like Generation Z or like baby boomer or whatever, like I have a graph pulled up that I Googled.
What are you?
Well, I'm Gen Z, but
what is your year of birth, sir?
2000,
May I ask?
2000.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I'm right there.
What's the end of the millennials? 98?
96.
96.
Couple years, but I'm having to like translate in my mind. Like, okay, like what is this? What is that? You said latter half of millennials. I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Well, millennial.
Well, that would be 1990 or 1989 through 1996.
Actually, so what is the millennial
so
range?
If you were born from then Annie's saying you're soft.
1996. When does millennial start? According to your
Millennials
graph?
is 1981 to 1996, according to my graph.
Well, and if the way I divide it is in that generation, when did the internet come to be? It came to be in the mid to late 90s for most people in a practical sense. And if you were born in 1996, you did not grow up not knowing the internet. we didn't get the internet in my house until I was a 7th or 8th grader. And I mean, I can't explain it other than to say that like you would sit there and take forever to sign on, and then it would sign on, and you'd be like, "Now what do you do?"
Didn't they have like the really weird like the dial up the
AOL
weird noises?
the
I
AOL
learned that
discs.
from the thing with Chris and Amy as well. I learned
I love
about
that
dial up
KMOX
tone.
is teaching
they
you
literally
about
had an
dial-up
just an
signals and
education.
Walkmans.
Sat down like, all right, here's what we're gonna learn today with you, Ethan. All
You
right.
go study with Chris and Amy on KMOX, then you come be a man of the people over here on 97.1.
Yeah.
We are glad to have you. All right, let's take a quick break. It's Thursday, right? So Trisha coming in?
Yes.
Not ask me anything. It would be, Annie, are you okay? Ryan's not here, so the whole flow is off, but it's all right. He's on vacation. He'll be back after he takes quite a trip. Looking forward to hearing what that's about. Trisha's going to come in. We're going to do a little Annie, are you okay? In just a minute. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
I'm embarrassed to say this. I've been using deodorant on my armpits for 30 years, and anytime I noticed odor anywhere else, I thought I needed another shower, I wasn't clean, or I felt like there was something wrong with me. And then my gynecologist told me about Lumi. It's a whole body deodorant for pits, feet, and privates that controls odor anywhere and everywhere on your body. Since Lumi, I never have to worry about body odor ever again, anywhere on my body. And that reassurance is worth every penny.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 300 and get an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack that comes with a solid stick, cream tube, free product of your choice, and ships free with code 300. LUMEdeodorant.com, code 300 for an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack. With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I am so sure you're going to love it. Or return it for free. That's LUMEdeodorant.com, code 300 for an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack. LUMEdeodorant.com, code 300.
Spring training is here, and it's almost time to embrace the essence of summer and let the soothing tones of Cardinals baseball transport you to warm, sun-soaked days. With the free Odyssey app, relive the joy of tuning in with your transistor radio, now seamlessly connecting you to every St. Louis Cardinals game on KMOX. Wherever your summer takes you, make sure to download the Odyssey app today and savor the sounds of Cardinals baseball. That's AUDACY, redefining your summer soundtrack. Live games available for fans and market only.
Mortgage rates have finally dropped. That's right. Golden Oak has 5.375% fixed rates available right now. Our average cash out customer saves over $1,000 a month. Call today and take advantage of our 5.375 fixed rate. Call 314-567-GOLD. That's 314-567-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
5.934 APR. FHA 15-year 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at GSLHonorFlight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Keeping you connected and aware.
In the world, the country, and the community.
And offering more ways than ever to listen conveniently. Tell your smart speaker to play 97.1 FM Talk or download the Odyssey app.
'cause time is all we need. I can't really
This
help
is
it
the
if
Annie
my
Fry Show.
tongue's all tied in knots.
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Farthest that I've ever been. Anywhere you go, I'll follow you down.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Thanks for being with us this Thursday afternoon. It's almost Friday. That's exciting. When does spring start? Is it officially now or is
Wasn't
it
it yesterday?
It was like
or
2
2 days
days
ago?
ago.
Yeah.
See, Hey, okay. everybody. Hi, Trisha. I heard from my 7-year-old daughter that spring started 2 days ago. I go, how do you know that? She's like, my teacher told me. I'm like, they know everything. Like when it comes to, if you're a second grade teacher, you know when spring starts. You've decorated for it. But I thought that seems kind of early. And then I heard earlier today somebody saying that spring started on the 21st or the 22nd. I'm like, what is the deal?
So I saw a newscast. It is early because of a leap year like 20 years ago. It had something to do with the leap year schedule that made it early this year, but it wasn't this
Not
leap
this
year.
year's.
Not this leap year.
See, Ethan,
it was
4
leap
cycles
year
ago or something like
cycles.
that. Yeah,
yes,
right.
exactly.
These millennials here, what we're doing right now is instead of just Googling it,
We used to do this all
we're,
the time.
we're just talking about stuff that we heard from people.
Hey.
And I would say that my card of the second grade teacher would be the highest trump card that would walk away with the winning conclusion.
Yeah.
Hey, it's great
Or
for radio.
You could just, no, it's not, because they're sitting in their car and they're like, Annie, and then they hold up their phone and it says spring starts here. Like, don't you have anybody to Google?
Well, my reasoning that I would have thrown in for why is because we had amazing weather for 2 weeks, and then of course the day that it was the first day of spring, it was out of nowhere,
Yeah, it
30
felt like the
degrees
last day
outside.
of
It's
winter.
like, what the heck? Where did this come from?
Yeah.
So
completely.
You have to ask me nicely. Don't make me beg here.
Ask me anything.
Tell me the truth. You can go ahead, take it from here.
Okay. Nashville PD drops fitness requirements so they can hire more female officers. The Metro Nashville Police Department has dropped their physical fitness requirements. So
Another banner day for women.
Right, so that more women might want to join the squad. The department is also offering other female-friendly amenities, like having lactation rooms at the office and more flexible work schedules, which is only applicable to women, apparently.
Lactation.
Lactation is, but flexibility in your work schedule,
well,
like
not in
work-life balance.
2024.
Yeah, birthing people. Annie, are you okay with changing physical requirements to attract women to a profession?
Multiple thoughts on this. No, as an entry level rule, but being realistic, if you don't have enough people that want to sign up to be a police officer, I don't know why. Maybe because we've crapped all over them for the past 5 years and nobody wants to put themselves in a position to go arrest bad people for doing bad things so that they can get let back out on the streets again and do the same thing again. Then maybe we need more people and like women or people. So,
have you seen this online, the obstacle course?
No. Is it?
Uh-oh.
Is it embarrassing?
Yeah, it looks like it's like for a grade schooler. It's like a chain link fence that's about hip height, and you just have to like go over it. And you get
in any way.
and you get two
like
tries.
You just have to start on this side and end
go
up on the
over
other side.
and end up on the other side, and you get 2
no.
shots.
But listen, there are men who would be too out of shape to be able to do that.
Sure.
I think a woman and a man should
What if
have
we just
to do
like
that.
moderated the course for everybody?
What was the fence height for a man, and what was it for a woman?
It's a good question. I only saw the women one, which looked like it was like a dog could jump over it, like a doggy gate.
You have an instance where you're chasing after a perp, and it's a male-female partner group, and the woman just has to stop.
I have never climbed a fence so high.
I'll be right here. If they come back here, I got it.
I'll go.
I'll get you next time.
I'll go
Send
back
them
and
my
get the
side.
car.
I don't understand how we can live in the world where we're having to say we have to lower standards so women can make the police force, but yet men and women can compete in sports together.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got. That's the thing, right? It's the same thing. Anyway, go ahead.
Latest TikTok trend tells teen boys to not wash their hair.
Oh, boy.
It's part of a hashtag no shampoo trend trying to convince young men that you can retrain your hair to not need shampoo. Dermatologists say that is nonsense. They say not washing your hair can lead to clogged follicles, and that is what leads to premature balding. Also, you stink. Annie, are you okay with not washing your hair?
I have purposely tried to wash my hair less.
This is what I thought might be interesting
Yes.
for you because women, there's been this retrain your hair thing going on for a while.
Yes. I don't. There's. First of all, if it's a trend on TikTok, I think it's stupid. I don't care what the trend is. Just I have a lot of entry level rules and then some follow ups. I think we all wash our hair too much. It's funny to me because like Big Shampoo would want you to wash your hair all the time. Big Dermatology would want you to make sure that you were seeing them for good advice and so on and so forth. But excuse me. But I really do think that we do wash our hair too much, and our bodies aren't doing the natural things that they were created to do. So I try to wash my hair less. I try to style my hair less. I've tried to try to be more natural about things as much as I can get away with. But a teenage boy is really disgusting.
Yeah. Well, I also think that some of that has to do with like the length of your hair. The longer your hair is, the more oils and whatnot your hair can take off of you. If you got really short hair, like if I don't wash my hair every day, my head will look like I dunked my head in a vat of motor oil. It'll just be gross.
Yep. No, I agree
So
with
I
that.
don't think that that's like something that I should be
The men have spoken.
trying to be, retraining my hair with. It'll be bad. It won't be good.
On the
So-
YouTube live chat poll, Quick Rick says, I ignored my hair and it went away. So there's proof right there. There it is right there.
There you go.
Hashtag no shampoo trend.
Yeah, I do think there's definitely something to washing your hair too much. But I don't really think that we
But
need
if
to.
your teenage boy is like, I'm doing the no shampoo trend for a month.
I don't want to be around you while you're doing your retraining. No thanks.
Florida hunter shoots man after mistaking him for turkey.
Florida hunter shoots man after
mistaking him for turkey.
What kind of
turkey.
turkeys do they? What kind of turkeys do they have in Florida?
Well, the unidentified hunter
Man-shaped.
told investigators he saw 3 female turkeys on the road and followed them. The birds led him to what he thought was a male turkey, so he fired. It was a decoy that there was a human by, and he heard somebody scream. Oh, no. That was very bad.
So there was a decoy.
Yes, which I guess this guy was standing next to. That seems like a bad idea also.
Shot at the decoy, missed, hit man.
Mm.
Yes.
Yes, that's his claim.
Why say many words when few words do trick, right?
Right? They're investigating this, but so far no charges have been filed. Annie, are you okay with no charges being filed for something like this?
Is the guy okay?
He's in the hospital. He was first reported critical, but he's expected to live.
I need more information because was he supposed to be wearing orange and he wasn't? Was he supposed to be identified
That's a
in
good
Florida?
question.
Like, was he doing what he was supposed to do to not get shot?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that just because you're standing next to a decoy that makes you fair game. But I don't think that you have to charge people if there is an unfortunate series of circumstances that leads you into that. And did this guy break a law?
I don't know. He just shot a guy, and I didn't know.
Most situations,
it's like a
that's a
weird gray
yes.
area. I don't know.
Like you can see there
it's
are
an
people,
accident.
There are people. There's somebody in Texas. I remember their kid was sexually assaulted, maybe raped or whatever. They walked in, they caught this act taking place, and then they kill him with their bare hands, and then they don't get charged.
Yeah, I'm
So
okay.
it's not
I'm
like,
actually okay with that.
Heck yeah, save the taxpayer some money for a creep that doesn't need to see another sunrise on planet Earth.
But this guy had trouble between man and turkey.
Well, again, if you are a hunter, there are ways that you can dress to hunt.
True.
One of them is to make yourself look as inconspicuous as possible. And there are rules, like during shotgun season, to become much more conspicuous. So if it's a series of unfortunate events, I could see a scenario where maybe there isn't.
And I don't know that in turkey hunting you're supposed to wear orange. I think turkeys have really good eyesight, and that would be counterproductive. I think you're supposed to be camouflaged pretty well.
It's not about the turkey seeing you; it's about the other hunter seeing you.
Right, but like you're able to get
The
away with
turkeys
wearing
can't tell the
torch
turkeys apart.
orange because deers are colorblind, where turkeys are not, and so you would stand out, and then you just might as well just not go turkey hunting.
I don't know what the rules are in Florida.
My other question was, are you okay with turkey outside of Thanksgiving? I maybe should have gone with that one.
Like to eat?
Yeah.
Man, I just don't enjoy eating meat as much as I wish I did. It would be easier if I were not so picky.
I think turkey's weird outside of Thanksgiving time.
Oh,
like
I
baked
don't.
turkey.
I like turkey.
I'll eat it on a sandwich.
I'll eat it. Yeah, deli meat.
Yeah, like a deli.
Yeah, I was
deli
gonna say,
turkey.
what kind of turkey we talking
Roasted
about here,
turkey,
you know
like
what I'm
oven
saying?
turkey.
Yeah, no, you got a
Raw.
point. You got a point.
Kind of weird.
Raw turkey.
Sushi.
All right.
American
Turkey
sushi.
I had a story a couple weeks ago about chicken sushi. You remember that? That was pretty gross.
I think I've blocked that out of my memory.
Yeah, I think I did too.
Penguin counters wanted at remote post in Antarctica. UK Antarctica Heritage Trust is looking to hire 5 people for a 5-month stint at the world's southernmost post office in Antarctica. That includes someone to sort mail and count the number of penguins in the area.
What?
2 jobs.
Applicants must be from the UK and be prepared to bunk with 5 other people, go long stretches without phone or internet, and make do with no running water for the duration of their stay. My question is, Annie, are you okay with camping?
No.
Like tent camping? Just go out and rough it?
I like the comforts of
plumbing,
of temperature-controlled air and comfy mattresses. No, I mean, I would go on flow trips and stuff when I was younger, and it was fun because that's what people were doing. But then eventually I realized I don't actually like this.
Oh, it's pretty
I like these people. I don't like this. Let's do this inside or around a pool.
It's nice to do the float trip and then either go home or go to a hotel
Yeah.
or, yeah.
Why do you have to be from the UK? That's what I'm like stuck on right now. Like, why? That I don't know.
They're British penguins.
Is that what it
You
is?
need to know the difference.
You can't count them correctly if, It's like the guy in the turkey store. You can't spot him right if you.
So how many people
This
are
makes so
at
much
this
more
place?
sense
Like,
now.
what kind of post office apparatus are we discussing here? How much mail could be coming in and going
It's-
out?
it's
And
sort
what is
mail.
the distribution factor that is
1
needed?
and 2.
You distributing for
Super.
the penguins as well, or is it just counting the penguins?
Yeah, who's getting this mail?
You have to mail the information back to the world about the
100%
penguins. That's
sounds
what
like
it is.
a taxpayer-funded endeavor. A
100
penguin post office.
Who knew penguins needed this much post? Hundreds of people in Mexico City stretch out for a mass nap. This happened last Friday in the streets of Mexico City. The streets were covered with yoga mats, sleeping masks, and travel pillows as hundreds of people sprawled out at the base of the city's iconic monument to the revolution to take a nap. The event was commemorating World Sleep Day, but it also meant to be a protest to push for sleep to be considered as an essential part of health and wellness. There's a bunch of people took a nap at the same time in Mexico City. Annie, are you okay with naps?
I love naps. I took, I had to be somewhere it was like 6:30. Was that yesterday? Or it's 5:30. I had an appointment Monday at 5:30 and Wednesday at 6:30. And it was just enough time to go home. And I laid down on the floor with some pillows and I slept for 20 minutes. Perfect time for an actual nap. The key is getting to fall asleep. If you can't fall asleep, then
That
you're
power
resting.
nap is that window.
Yes.
And there is something to a floor nap.
Yes.
There is something about the stability of the floor.
Mhm. I
Floor naps are
specifically
good.
wanted to lay on the floor. I don't get to take naps very often, but definitely love naps. Are you a napper, Ethan?
Yes, but I would define my term of napping to usually be a little bit longer than 20 minutes.
How long is your nap?
Well, I guess it kind of depends on on the amount of time that I have.
Is that how
But,
long
like-
your nap is?
You're catching on.
I'm catching on here.
I don't know. I would say 45 minutes to an hour is more kind of where my range for otherwise I just feel like I'm 20 minutes I don't feel like is really worth taking a nap to me. I'm just kind of like,
Wait until you have 4 kids.
I will wait until hopefully don't
Yeah.
get to that
I
point.
mean, if you get 20 minutes to nap by yourself, that's like golden. I don't know. I like taking naps. I don't get to take them very often.
And finally, cicadas could soon be peeing on people.
Gross.
Gosh.
Cicada season is just around the corner in a number of U.S. states, including Illinois, meaning millions of people will soon be hearing the deafening buzz of the insect's mating call. Also, scientists say cicadas may soon be peeing on you. According to new research, the bugs drink 300 times their weight in plant sap every day. So when it's time for them to go, they really go at a speed of 10 feet per second. What? To be exact. Fun fact, experts say cicadas have the strongest urine jet stream of any animal relative to their size.
These are the same people who are delivering mail to penguins.
This is directly from the penguin people up at the UK Antarctic Heritage Trust. Annie, are you okay with cicadas?
I saw some stories that were out where there was cicada recipes because there's the 2
Ugh.
flights of cicadas
Uh-huh.
that are supposed to land at the same time here, and I just think that's offensive. I
And
like
they're
the sound.
peeing so
I like the
much.
sound of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Sounds- Go ahead.
Cicadas were the soundtrack of my childhood.
Yeah, it sounds like summer.
So on the other side, though, my fiance is from Minnesota, and her mom came last summer and just hung out for a week, and the cicada, like just that chirping in the background, and was like, "What is this noise?" Like, had never
really?
heard it
Did you
before.
say it's the aliens?
I was like, "It is. It's the sound of the Midwest." I said,
Yeah.
"That's what it is. Like, get used to it."
I would miss it if I couldn't hear it. I went to New York City a few years ago, and it was in the middle of the summer, and by the end of it, my husband was with me, and we were just like, we want to go back to power line, like poles that go down the street and fields of grass or whatever, and you can see the sun coming up, you can see the sun going down, and like that calm, quiet sound of summer where you get the cicadas going in the background, and that's about it. Maybe a car drives by every once in a while. Because when you're in New York City, it's just a constant flow of the same thing the entire time. I understand that it would be appealing to some. It's appealing to me in this much teeny-bitty amount of a dose. Cool to experience, but after 3 nights there, I was ready to come home in a big way. Do you like cicadas? Do you like the sound?
I do. Yeah, I think they're nice.
I don't want them to be all over everything.
I don't really want to get peed on.
They're really big too. They're really big. 10 feet per second. That's like you to me right now. Like that is a lot of pee for a very tiny.
You know, and also
Per
the truth,
second.
the truth about cicadas are like traditionally, you don't see them that often. You just hear them. So obviously they're everywhere because it's such a loud noise that you hear during the summer. But it's not like you're really confronted with the existence of them. I think that's going to be different this summer. I don't know. Thanks for being in here.
Hey, thanks for having
me.
me.
We appreciate you. Let's take a quick break. We'll finish up with the YouTube live chat poll for today. Is there any position or policy in the opposing party that you support? Yes or no? Let us know what you think on the Annie Fry YouTube Live. We'll be right back.
Come undone. Anywhere you go, I'll follow you.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Any place but
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
anywhere you go, I'll follow you down. I'll follow you down, but not that far.
If you're looking for charcoal for your grill, why don't you check out Ruler Foods? They've got it for you. $6.99 each for a bag of the Kroger charcoal. Go pick it up today and get that grill fired up. Spring's here. Got to use the grill as much as you possibly can. They also have Kroger ground beef, so if you're looking to throw some burgers on that grill, they're sold in 3-pound rolls. Limit of 2, but just $8.97. Great price there. Kroger chips to go with your burgers. Limit 10 for 10. Great opportunity to save on that. And Totino's Pizzas, 10 for 10 as well. Saving on your grocery bill at Ruler Foods is very simple. You just shop there, and you're going to save on all the products that you buy. The name brands that you love, you're going to find those at Ruler Foods. But they also are proud to carry Kroger brands at those Ruler Foods prices that you're going to come to love. Once you go in there and shop for the first time, you'll really enjoy this experience, and you're going to absolutely love the savings that you're going to have there. If you're interested in finding the Ruler Foods closest to you, just visit them online, put the zip code in at rulerfoods.com.
At Neovitin, we are all about supporting your nutrition, and that's why we are excited about our new Neovitin Omega-3 supplement. Neovitin Omega-3 is formulated with 1,200 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids to help support healthy hearts. Our high-quality omega-3 fish oils are sourced from wild-caught fish and tested for heavy metals. With our convenient monthly subscription, you can get Neovitin Omega-3 delivered right to your door every month with no long-term obligations. Support your daily nutrition and sign up for a Neovitin Omega-3 subscription at neovitin.com today.
I can see clearly now thanks to the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and introducing Samuel Berry. You can too. Call 314-966-5000 or check out youridoc.com. That's youridoc.com.
Today's YouTube live chat poll, is there any position or policy in the opposing party that you support? Yes or no? Jump on Annie's YouTube page and vote in the chat there, and then leave us a message. Tell us why you voted the way you voted. The time is 2:48. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
The Reardon Fish Fry Fridays conclude this week in Oakville. Join me and the crew at Queen of All Saints Church. We're broadcasting live from 3 to 6 p.m. Details at 971talk.com/events. It's Fish Fry Fridays on The Mark Reardon Show. Hope to see you in Oakville.
This is The Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We're happy that you're here with us today. Our YouTube live chat poll, is there any position or policy in the opposing party that you support, yes or no? These parties, the Republican Party and the Democrat Party, super far apart. I think that if you asked this question 25 years ago, there would be a lot of crossover. I think that people have kind of picked their key issues and they've started to separate, and that middle has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger of space between the two parties. Katie said on YouTube, no, I looked during every commercial break, but I couldn't find a single Democratic policy I agree with. I don't think that, I mean, we've got other people on this chat here who have said similar things in the converse way. Craig says, with the current MAGA chapter of the Republican Party, I support none of their positions. Scooter said, it's hard to take discussions of MAGA issue or values seriously because of Donald J. Trump. He makes everyone sound like a hypocrite. Greg said, I occasionally agree with a Democrat statement like no one is above the law, but I know they aren't sincere because they don't hold themselves to the same standard, which is the hypocrite comment going the other way there. Paul said, I'm a Republican, but I do support some of the Democrats' pro-worker positions. I retired as a union member, and they treated me great. I wonder, Paul, probably don't have time to get to all this. You made this comment in the 1 o'clock hour, but a lot of that pro-union stuff or pro-labor stuff is now separating at the union brass and the union rank and file. And I've talked to many of the steel workers at Granite City Steel when I was there in 2018, maybe it was, whenever Trump was there. And every single one of the people who I talked to, granted, Donald Trump was there, so you probably don't show up if you hate him. Although maybe you do. I mean, they just loved that Donald Trump seemed to care about them and felt that the alternative side of the aisle didn't. And when you listen to Joe Biden, especially in the State of the Union, talk about green energy initiatives, he spent a lot of time in the State of the Union trying to talk to Michigan and the auto workers that are there. But the policies that he's putting in place, especially the green energy policies he's put in place, and he's championing those right now, they're not going to be too good for the auto industry in the United States of America. Pon said, I used to be a Democrat. There is next to nothing I agree about on their policies. So that's somebody who's shifted away from them. Carlos said, nope, anymore. The left seems contrary to what is best for the country. Ender said, of course, so far Democrats have been much better on the cybersecurity front than Republicans, and I appreciate the heck out of that. The one thing that I'm willing to be open-minded to, the current thing that I'm thinking of that I could be open-minded to. You've heard me talk a lot about social media and the access that children have to social media, but more so the access that social media has to our children. And while I'm not somebody that runs to government regulation for solutions, sometimes that might be the last resort, which is probably when it's time to at least consider what it might look like. I think that there should be tighter regulations on social media outlets, their access to children, the algorithm that's put into play to be in front of children's eyes and minds, and the money that is made off of it. Like, I almost would like to see an instance where if a child is the one consuming the product, you can't make money off of it. I think that would maybe change some things.
Yeah, I can see where I'm the question, I guess I would say I would have to do a little bit more there's nothing
Nothing jumps out at you.
Nothing jumps out at me, but I don't want that to come off as that I wouldn't be like open to like looking into considering, because I think that once we lose that as a people, the willingness to like open our minds up and at least like look into things, then, and honestly, that's probably where a lot of our country is right now, is that, oh, if it's viewed as a Democratic policy or if it's viewed as a Republican policy, we just drop it immediately. And maybe if you are still open to it, you still fully align and agree 100% with one side or the other. But I don't think, I think that you have to be willing to at least look into things.
Brad, a lot of listeners have made some suggestions or said, no,
Yeah.
there's nothing. Have you come to anything?
Yeah,
over
I was
3
just
hours?
kind of thinking about this. About the only thing that I can come up with is the left likes to talk an awful lot about reforming drugs, like marijuana sentencing and stuff like that, looking at different ways of changing the law when it comes to certain drugs. I don't think I would go as far as a lot of people on the left want to go on that, but I am definitely open to looking at this and maybe adjusting the way we approach some of these laws surrounding things like medical
rehabilitation?
Yeah, rehabilitation. I mean, we're pretty much down the road of medical marijuana, and I think that that's a good thing.
So you're
But-
talking about decriminalization of certain drugs.
Yeah, or just changing the way we criminalize it. Instead of it being a felony, it'd be a misdemeanor, some of that sort of thing. You know, understanding that there are people in prison that have been way overcharged that maybe shouldn't be overcharged. But again, I'm not looking to move a whole lot on that, but that's one of the things. It's the kind of the only area that I can come up with where I'm willing to actually look at and
Your mind would be open to someone making the case
make the case
to persuade you.
Right, because in Illinois, I mean, recreational marijuana is legal. And in all honesty, you know, I get the argument, hey, do it in your home, you know, it's your own privacy and stuff like that. But just the other day, it was one of the first nice days that we had this year. I was driving up and I came up sitting at a parking at a stoplight, and the person in the car next to me had their sunroof open. I could see through their tinted windows, and my tinted windows, the flames rolling off the end of the doobie that they're smoking, and it was like a chimney coming out the top of their car. And I'm like, okay, maybe we're taking this a little too far. So don't hear me saying that I'm all for that. But
I mean, technically, they're not allowed to do that while they're driving.
they're not supposed to be.
But they are.
Yeah, and that's kind of like why it's like I need to look at this, and we need to examine these circumstances and the results farther on down the road.
I don't understand how the way, especially in Illinois, that marijuana is smoked. Like I'm in one state of mind where if you're participating in something that is edible or topical or whatever, that I don't really know about that. But walking through a cloud of skunk smell everywhere you go is so disgusting that how is that not a public nuisance? I think it's a public nuisance. The YouTube live chat poll, is there any position or policy in the opposing party that you support? 74% of you say no. I guess we're pretty far divided. Over 200 votes on today's YouTube live chat poll. Thanks for being here with us today. You too, Ethan. Go watch some basketball.
Yes.
Right after you listen to the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1. Fair enough?
Fair.
All right. Stick around right here. Mark Reardon up on St. Louis's home for Conservative Talk, 97.1 FM Talk.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Looks like it costs a fortune.
Actually, at Bob's, the Playscape 2-piece sectional is just $9.99.
Looks like it was crafted by a master carpenter.
Gorgeous, right? Bob's genuine marble elm dining set comes with 6 chairs or 4 chairs and a storage bench for just $9.99.
Looks like a unicorn cried happy tears all over it.
That's our bedazzled diva bedroom set. I can see why you think that. When the looks you love go for less, there's only one thing to say. Oh, my Bob!
Bob's Discount Furniture.
AMCO presents Bet You Didn't Know.
Bet you didn't know that your car's transmission is made up of 800 pieces. Also, bet you didn't know that AMCO's fixed over 40 million transmissions, and that AMCO offers a nationwide warranty.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
That's AMCO, AA. MCO.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether